Yep.
So, so thank you for the no sound update. So, one would think that if you sent your attorney on television, your first goal would be for him to not embarrass you, not say things that would put you in legal jeopardy, and speak coherently and intelligently. These are, I mean, baseline, right?
Yeah, that's baseline attorney stuff.
Yeah. You would think, if indeed your legal defense was your first order of business. In the case of Donald Trump and I think Rudy Giuliani, and why he keeps getting sent out, and I genuinely believe this, is that Rudy's job, as ridiculous as he is, and whether he's even aware of it or a kind of a useful idiot in this format, is that he seeds in his conversations to everyone, when he's talking to Cuomo or anybody else, little conspiracy details that distract from reality. Does that make sense? There is an element to this where he is saying things that are it's obvious to me that no matter what he says, there will be, I guess, in general, like a blowback or a follow-through. Because I think a lot of people started right after Giuliani was on Cuomo, and I'll play the quote for you in a second. He had obviously, all the news was the big breakup with Cuomo, and that these two guys usually love each other, and off they go, and isn't this hilarious and embarrassing? And it got played like crazy. But what was also in that clip that kept running was, that somehow Biden's son is involved in some sketchy stuff in Ukraine. And that thought bubble managed to cut its way through, and the New York Times was being, on balance with that phrase. They were dumping that on everybody. Like, there may be something to this. There isn't, by the way. There's nothing.
Yeah, but they always, when they say that he talked to the Ukraine leader, they've been throwing in about Biden's son.
Yeah, exactly. As if there's a there, right? And that in and of itself, madness. So let's be abundantly clear that when he throws those little Easter eggs out, the news chases that in this weird attempt to take the arguments seriously and address elements that the president may or may not have a leg to stand on, but at least give him the benefit of the doubt in the argument, or try to explain it. And unfortunately, the explanation itself is absurd. The explanation that that they end up finding is it's so complex that they don't have time to break it all down. So guess what? We're going to break it all down today. We're going to go through the accusation against.
Time for a breakdown.
Yeah, we're going to go through the accusation against Biden, but we're also going to go through Trump's response to the whistleblower. Just the phrases he uses that are very telling. It's that it's standard Trumpism. But this is audio, and I think you guys will be able to hear it from the first time that that Trump himself, I guess, has he was sitting in with the leader of Australia, and they're having their little press conference, and in the middle of this. In the beginning of it, he's talking about Iran and the sanctions on that. We'll also get to that as well. And his argument that that Iran is almost broke, and he has Steve Mnuchin come out and do this bizarre, like, tap dance. It's really awkward. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but that was
I haven't.
That was tons of fun. So
what Biden said to the Ukraine. Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate?
This is Giuliani. So
Joe Biden.
Yeah. Whoops.
No, actually, I didn't. I asked the Ukraine to investigate the allegations that there was interference in the
guys hear
election
me?
of 20.
Johnny, did I lose you on that one? What happened? Hold on. So, whoops. Beg your pardon. And I kicked myself off the line. That's what I did. That's my fault. This is me trying to be all smart and cool. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. That was me. That was 100% me.
Did you sit down on something?
I did. I totally did.
Time.
I totally sat down on and bombed everything. So this is, I'm going to try and play this audio through. I've been all, I guess, like, let's see if I can drag this guy over into, I don't want to do like that. Let's see. I'll add it that way. In the case of, Giuliani coming out again, I have this argument, I believe, and I will stand by it, that that Giuliani is intentionally planting, like thought eggs, right, in the eyes of, in the ears of reporters, so that they can at least they have to at least deal with that part of it. So here's Giuliani and the clip, and well, actually, let's take a break, and I'll play that clip as soon as we come back. And to that end, the absurdity of even having Rudy Giuliani as your attorney is madness. But let's be abundantly clear: this guy is doing his job, and I'll show you how when we come back. Okay, Johnny, I want to check this audio, make sure you can hear it, so I don't close.
What Biden said to the Ukraine. Did you ask the Ukraine?
You can hear that?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Excellent. Okay, great. And and
what Biden said to the Ukraine.
CPT, you guys can hear that?
Yeah, we heard the clip, Hal.
Great. Okay, cool. Phew.
Good old Devin.
Hi, chat room. How are you?
All right, I'm going to mute for a second. I'll be right back.
He's got to go. He got to go to the bathroom. Thank you.
Something.
Not
something.
It's all right. I'm not judging at all. There we go. All right. So, hi, chat room. Good to see you. Hello. I did, although it's a matter of opinion whether I can go further with it. Current state of affairs, physically. This is, I feel, look before going to the gym like I used to coming out of the gym. And that seems to be the setup. So physically, yes, there's a couple of things I want to tweak. It's been a learning experience. That's a whole other element of the post show. But like I'm getting some shape where I want it. I'm getting the flat part against my arm hair showing, like this little flat element of, getting a little shape in the tricep, that kind of thing. That and my strength has improved immensely. So yes, there we go. That's right. We got 100 people in here, and sorry for the delay, everybody. I should probably throw up the copyright there, so don't bother me, a few people. All right, there you go. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, kids. How are you? I kicked myself. How the hell do you do that? Yeah, I've kicked myself off the air several times, and I deserved it. Hi, Natalie. Good to see you. Yeah, Giuliani thinks he's a chicken. Well, why don't you get rid of him? We need the eggs, right? Go out and rake the forest for you. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for climate. That's my own climate crisis solution. I agree that there's an element of the celebrity aspect.
Back in 60, guys.
Thank you. There's a element of the celebrity aspect to this, Wes. But I think I think at this point, he's clinging to the loyalists. So, wait, did I? did Tom? Let's see. I don't want to miss something. Hello. Watching on Facebook and YouTube. I've got you cornered. Good morning, Tom. Thank you. Oh, Johnny's back. I can tell. He's fondling his microphone. Hey, look at that. Hi.
This is Doris Davenport, host of The Doris Davenport Show.
Hi, Doris.
All local, all the time.
It is lovely.
I'm on every Saturday morning from 10 to 11, right before Hal Sparks. Now let's get back to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Yeah, let's. Shall we? Let's. Come on. Let's get back to the show. So this is my running theory that, and this may be the root of the Peter Principle. This may be the essence, how Giuliani Clouseau's his way through everything. We may have found the essence of why Giuliani has gotten into the positions he's gotten to in his life and actually made his way up. At some point, I think he was relatively competent in theory.
Yeah, probably.
And again, in theory, because we can create images in the press and in the PR age we live in. You can cover for a lot of characteristics. They used to do it back in the 30s and 40s. You didn't know how a movie star was like the rest of the time. Check Rock Hudson. You know what I mean? There was a way you could shape someone's image to the public in such a way they had no idea, Liberace, that their life did not line up with what you were perceiving on the part of Ike Turner. And so when you look at somebody like Giuliani, that's not surprising. By the way, we have 159 people watching on YouTube right now, and that's really sweet. Hit the smash like, folks. So here's Giuliani failing upward on CNN with Cuomo. And apparently this is the last time they're going to talk until the next time they talk. Right.
What Biden said to the Ukraine. Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No, actually, I didn't. I asked the Ukraine to investigate the allegations that there was interference in the election of 2016 by the Ukrainians for the benefit of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that happened.
For which there already is a
You never asked anything about Hunter Biden. You never asked anything about Joe Biden.
The only thing I asked about Joe Biden is to get to the bottom of how it was that Lutsenko, who was appointed, dismissed the case against Antak.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
You just said you didn't.
Okay, so all right.
How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you how you do it. You have to be a complete maniac. But if you'll notice, he planted 2 seeds of BS in that little exchange that he knew would be a viral video. This might be the most effective media strategy in current year. This is how you do it, folks. If you want to plant a BS story in the news, or you want to lead someone else down another path, what you do is you wrap it in a viral video. And that's exactly what he did. Now, did he do it on purpose? Was it a magic talent that he has? Or is it just he goes on autopilot and you can trust him to do it? If he goes in there like a lawyer with his talking points, this will be the thing he'll hit his points, even if he goes down in flames. And if the whole point is to sort of plant seeds of doubt in the minds of the jury, if you've dealt with, especially as an attorney, the concept of reasonable doubt, and most of Trump's followers, his real bootlicker followers, are unreasonable. And a lot of the ones that follow him in the Republican Party, even though they don't like him, are in fear of those unreasonable people. You don't even need reasonable doubt. You need just Pizzagate-level conspiracy theories, and you're covered. You could just drop it and walk away. And that's exactly what he did in this clip, okay? I don't care what anybody says. That video, making its rounds, served a purpose. It planted every single news story you saw following that up did a well, what's the deal with Joe Biden's son in Ukraine? Well, he was involved in an oil company over there. Okay, we don't like oil companies. We don't like billion as a number. Obviously, this is hinky. Now, never mind the fact that in 2012, when Biden was effectively put on Ukraine watch because of the Russian activity there, Ukraine, being the biggest country in Europe, outside of Russia, the barrier between Russia and the rest of Europe, an important wall between what the Russians want to do to Europe and what the Europeans would rather Russia not do to them. Ukraine had a leader that was sympathetic to Russia and was incredibly corrupt, ended up being run out of the country. Not before, but...
Is that the guy who, everybody stormed into the mansion and found crazy things, like floating in the pool?
Yes, and it's the guy that that Paul Manafort famously advised to start to basically seed riots in the country, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of Ukrainians over the course of those riots. And this was Manafort. Sounds chill. Yeah, it was Manafort's little 2 cents in the meeting. Apparently, this is not only was this in the news at the time that there were obviously agent provocateurs put in to gin up conflict within the Ukrainian protesters, so that basically elevating things so that the troops could fire into the crowd if they wanted to. Manafort suggested this strategy to begin with, and his own daughters, in those texts that came out, that was two of the big things that his own daughters distanced themselves from Manafort about are that event.
Is that the ones when they were complaining that he was really poor or being real cheap?
No, that's the one where they were saying that he was having sex parties using using their mother as basically a sex doll for people he would find on Craigslist.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's gross, and it's in this weird. I don't get. It's in the I don't get it file. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like I gotta say, it's right next in the file. Right behind it in my I don't get it file is the I don't know how many times I did blackface file. You know what I mean?
Man, oh man.
No, hey.
I know my number. Do you know yours?
Yeah, I do. I know it precisely. Yes. And I won't be surprised.
It's 22, and I
that's right. Anybody, and it was all yes. There was such a gradation of shades. You could hardly argue. But
that's right. I was like, I could only keep this up for about 3 weeks, and I was right. That 22nd day was horrible.
It was. It was just. It didn't all. It wouldn't hold together. So.
And it wouldn't come off all that well either.
Yeah. Well, don't even get me started on. It seems like all the people. There's been 2 Republicans busted for it, and then a bunch of liberals. That's the weird part. Maybe they just don't. Maybe they just don't photograph at the weird,
Arabian Nights party.
Yeah, right. Maybe the Republicans know better than everybody. Put your keys and your phone in the bowl. Right. I don't get it. Okay. So in the I don't get it, is this this obvious circumstance where you have Ukraine as a country that we need as an ally against Russia. Russia has invaded Crimea. Russia is pushing its way across, and basically trying to take them over. So to strategically have get their oil to the Black Sea, have control over that source, be able to, work with Iran and North Korea to basically squeeze the entire world. This is this is their strategy. It currently is. It is. There's no even second guessing this. This is a reality on the world stage right now. The coordination between Russia, North Korea, and a little bit of footsie with China, but very little these days because they don't trust them either. Either direction, and Iran, Russia, and North Korea all kind of playing footsie as a way of doing this kind of like circling the wagons around everyone, right? So this is. Obviously an issue. So at the time, Ukraine is being squozed by Russia, it becomes strategically so important both to NATO, which Trump rolled right in and wanted to get rid of.
For a second, I thought you said tornado.
Yes, they have big tornadoes there. It's the Kansas of Europe. So And I do mean the band, so carry on. And in the case of Ukraine, I mean, it was, everybody from, John Kerry to Joe Biden to John McCain and Lindsey Graham. Like it was bipartisan in the truest sense of the word, right? It was, nobody questions the idea that you don't let Ukraine fall to Russia. But the problem they had at the time was that Ukraine, on a list of 150 traits, 150 countries, as far as their stability and the amount of bribery going on in them, one being the least, 150 being the worst on the list. Ukraine was 120 at the time we were interacting with them. They were 120th on a list of 150, 150 being the worst, of graft, corruption, and bribery going on. And the prosecutor that Biden wanted ditched refused to indict the guys who were involved in the actual bribery and siphoning of money out of the country. At their health care at that point, people in Ukraine go to the hospital to get their health care. They get free health care at national hospitals. But people were, rich people were paying their way to get ahead of the line, and only 23% of the money that was going from the government to those hospitals to pay for actual care was actually being used for it. The rest of it was literally being cash siphoned out of the country. The leader of the country and this prosecutor and a dozen other people in that government were working directly with Russia to scuttle the economy of Ukraine, drive up discontent within the public sphere. Sound familiar? And attack them in such a way that people would basically say, the Ukrainian government has failed. We need Russia to come in here and clean this whole thing up. That's what they were shooting for. And they had agent provocateurs and social media control going on to make that happen or whatever. And Biden said, if you don't fire the dude who won't prosecute the corruption, you don't get $1 billion of our money. When money is going out of your country hand over fist, when 100% of the money we give you, 23% of what's supposed to go to the hospitals goes to the hospitals, and over 70% goes right out to Russia. We're not giving it to you unless you start putting some of these people in jail. And the guy refused, and then he stepped down, and they put him aside, and then he was on paid leave, and then they had a vote in their own parliament, and they got rid of him. The parliament got rid of him, not the leader himself. We'll be back. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. So, yeah. I think that worked live, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, Biden was putting his foot down exactly in the chat room. Now, Johnny, are you in the YouTube chat by any chance?
Oh, no. Should I be?
Well, I mean, it helps during the breaks or whatever. It'll make it a little bit easier on you. But I was also going to send you a link for the Restream chat, because that goes everywhere. Although it should crisscross, I think, across most stuff. But, yeah. Hold on.
This is very close to what I'm hearing from you.
All right. There you go. This might be, there you go. I don't know if this will work for you, but you can find out. You may not be able to get into it there. You may get bounced across. But they're like, come play with us, Johnny, forever and ever. Twitch stream would probably get more notice if it was in the talk shows and podcast directory. Well, thank you, Justifiable 187. I appreciate the heads up. I didn't even know that was a category, and I will fix that right now. That part's new. Being able to go out to all the different. I got this. There was a. It kicked me right off. It's okay. That's what happens when I went to the station. It heard an echo and freaked out. That's what happens. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm back. It's okay. So, in the category talk shows, I will try to change that right now. This is what happens when I have too many windows open. There may indeed be a solution around this in the near future too. I think that I think I've figured out what the the fix will be. And I always say this, but it's true. So yeah. Yeah, but we're up and we're live back on there, and I'm gonna close the Twitch page because it will drive me insane. And yeah.
Back in 60.
Cool. I think it's good. Yeah. Using 2 machines. Yeah, I think that's ultimately how it has to be, because there's just so much stuff in there. Eat my shorts, Nightbot. Yeah, the Nightbot is finger wags at people in the chat. I'm so sorry, you guys. That's so funny. Where is this? Okay, so I like ultimately. Anyways, I got this giant, ridiculous LG screen a while back, and I've had it for a while just so I could do editing. And I'm like, this is a lot of space. I'm never gonna need this. And now I'm using every inch of the screen. Plus, so it's eventually going to go to like the 3-screen gamer setup, like those maniac. I'm creating my own VR helmet.
This is Ron Calgo.
And this is Robbie Earhart.
And you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
That's right, you are. So, welcome back, everybody. How are you? So in my theory that Giuliani truly wants to plant these little seeds and that's part of the strategy, and that in many ways Trump has always had kind of a page 6 savvy that I think a lot of other folks don't have, okay? Like, you know what I mean?
When you are shameless, that's your advantage.
That's true. And it helps when the people that you are grifting don't care. Like Page 6 and Forbes, like they need, and
they
certain
want the friction.
And I guess certain reporters too, because they don't want to lose access, will buy your BS and print it every so often, just so you give them that extra, like that nudge every so often. Like I mean, I just saw this thing on Roy Cohn yesterday. The special they had on him, because Trump was always like, "Where's my Roy Cohn? I need my Roy Cohn." And he found it in this kind of weird mix of Giuliani and Stephen Miller. But there's clearly a strategy at play here, right? And in the strategy around, that Trump and Giuliani have, it's clearly like, look, say something the press will run with.
Yeah.
Say something just
right here, the Wall Street Journal headline: Trump repeatedly pressed Ukraine president to investigate Biden's son.
That's right. And the Biden son part is the reality is that Trump repeatedly pressed them to give him dirt on a political rival and failed. He didn't get any. There was none. The people there like the fact that their country is less corrupt since the last leader, who was a Russian stooge, got booted, and the dudes who were supporting him went with them. All right, so Trump, but again, these seeds get laid out. Now, this is Trump answering questions for the first time. He's sitting next to the Australian Prime Minister, and this first comes up. Okay, this is his take on it. And I want you to listen for moments like that throughout, because there's a few of them, and I mean, he's a little more ham-handed than Giuliani. Giuliani works it in like acting subtext, and it's so fluid. I mean, you're like watching the maestro at work. Whereas with Trump, it's just kind of like, you guys shouldn't look at me, look at him. Like, it's like, I never even saw these idiots before, Right. So here's Trump.
You want to address this whistleblower story? What story? The whistleblower, whether it was ridiculous story. It's a partisan whistleblower.
How does he know?
They shouldn't even have information.
What does that mean?
I've had conversations with many leaders that are always appropriate.
Of course.
I think Scott can tell you that. Always appropriate.
Best
at the
chocolate
highest
cake.
level, always appropriate. And anything I do, I fight for this country. I fight so strongly for this country. It's just
Which country would that be?
Political hack job. That's all it is.
On that point, did you discuss Joe Biden, his son, or his family with the leader?
It doesn't matter what I discuss.
That's
but
a yes.
I will say this: somebody ought to look into Joe Biden's statement, because it was disgraceful, where he talked about billions of dollars that he's not giving to a certain country unless a certain prosecutor's taken off the case.
Taken off the case. Listen to that.
Somebody ought to look into that, and you wouldn't because he's a Democrat. And the fake news doesn't look into things like that. It's a disgrace. But I had a
You're going to cut me off before I even finish.
I don't even know exactly who you're talking about. But I had a great conversation with numerous people, numerous leaders.
And it says,
and
like,
I always look for the conversation that's going to help the United States the most. That's very important.
Do you know the identity of the whistleblower? Do you know the identity?
I don't know the identity of the whistleblower. I just hear it's a partisan person, meaning it comes out from another party.
Oh, is that what that means? So okay, let's.
So many people slip and fall in the bathroom every day.
Quit it. Okay, listen. There's a couple of obvious eggs in there. There's a couple of, the most obvious one is him just going, you guys should look into Biden, but you won't because he's a Democrat, which is, literally it's that is the biggest fake the throw stick to dog reference, like with the especially with the New York Times. WAPO doesn't tend to take the bait, but New York Times always does. And a lot of the, especially the nightly news, or it plants a seed that, Hannity can run with. So that's not surprising. The interesting part for me was the whole you look at his statement. I'm gonna tell you what if you don't $1 billion if a certain prosecutor isn't taken off the case. Now, part of that is actually, I think, projection on the part of Donald Trump. This definitely has a, like, I totally will do that. Like, if I was in possession, if I could stop the AG of New York, for example, by threatening funding, then I absolutely would. And in the case of, this Biden thing, like saying specifically, like that Biden wanted this guy to go, but this guy wasn't investigating Biden's, son's, the oil company his son sat on the board of, and that $1 billion, which Giuliani said went to his son. That's the interesting thing. So these are the two seeds they're planting, that the $1 billion went to his son and that the $1 billion was held to get rid of the prosecutor. These are the two storylines, and they're both totally separate. I mean, you would guess that these guys never have spoken before, Trump and Giuliani, but neither of those things are true. So it's important that they just throw them in different directions. You know what I mean? Like multiple dogs, multiple sticks.
Yeah.
And the $1 billion thing to get rid of this particular prosecutor was because he was going after the 45% of Ukraine's economy that was legit and ignoring the 55 that was actually working for the Russian government, grafting the Ukrainian people and stealing their funds. That's it. And the idea that the U.S. government, which, by the way, Trump is bitching about us paying for Puerto Rico's reconstruction, that Trump would have a problem with us withholding foreign support, like monetary support, in any front is awkward, based on his sort of policy leanings. But the reality that you would want to make sure, one would think, that if you're going to give $1 billion in aid to a country, that money that to defend themselves against Russia, that 60% of that money wouldn't go to Russia, would be the concern. And you would want some strings attached.
Right.
You would think. So, anyways, Trump putting in this idea that he wanted him removed from this case against his son was like, no. This guy can't be trusted anywhere. He's got to go. And, you got rid of the head of the country. You still got their deep state. Like, again, this is almost one of those moments where, like, Trump, burns out the deep state. There were people left over in this government that are against me and don't listen, and don't believe in anything, that we believe in. He's a partisan whistleblower. I don't know who he is, but we need to get rid of him. And yet when Biden's saying this guy can't be trusted, he's part of the old regime that was loyal to Russia, maybe we should do something about that. So Are you on a train, Johnny?
No, there's a big rainstorm coming over.
Oh, wow. That's kind of getting a little bit of atmospheric. That is a big rainstorm. All right.
Yeah. Should I mute?
No. You can kind of, we'll just lower your volume a little bit in my setting or whatever. And I'll put the rain filter on. I think that'll do it. Yeah. So, that's amazing. So,
right.
So, and by the way, that only starts, and again, the whole, Giuliani going, it's like he did with China. Meanwhile, literally, China is allowing Ivanka's patents and trademarks to go through in a way, that is obviously trying to create a bridge with Donald Trump as a person. The Russians themselves actively involved in helping him get elected. No question about it whatsoever. Like, he can say, no collusion, I wasn't involved, which, by the way, the Mueller report doesn't say. But you can't say that the Russians didn't want him in office and all their actions weren't aimed at getting him in office. Whether they coordinated or not, openly or directly, is the material question. And the lack of evidence there has a lot to do with the fact that Trump would not sit down for an interview, that a lot of people were lying, obfuscating, and getting rid of evidence. So, but Pizzagate's a real thing. So in the case of, Giuliani and Trump, this is, I feel, an actual strategy. And it worked. And so, before we take a break, I would like to propose to all of our listeners and folks in the chat room who are very smart and know this, before you retweet, before you, dump stuff onto the internet, and I've been as guilty of it as anybody, check yourself and go, am I being played slightly? And that doesn't mean you can't tweet the thing out or send it out on social media, but maybe in there, make an extra little line. You got 240 characters now. Add a little extra line that, P.S., this guy is BSing you. This is flim-flam, because that's exactly what it is. We'll be back. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio Talk. Wave at me in the chat room. How are you, all the YouTube folks? Hi, Carl. Can't stop lying. Good to see you, folks. We'll talk to Johnny during the break. We'll be back. Look at that. Welcome to the broadcast, Terrelyn. I'm glad you guys have found this. What do you think about Trump banning vaping? I'm a 30-year smoker and switched to vaping. He's not banning vaping. They're banning certain flavors. We talked about that last week. I don't think either is healthy. If it helps you transition off, that's one thing. They believe the fruit flavors are aimed at marketing towards kids. I don't disagree, but I will say that I find it ironic that Republicans who view themselves as on a business side libertarian are literally banning vaping products based on flavor, but are saying somehow, magazine capacity is off limits with guns, and not knowing that legally, if this goes through, if this actually works as a strategy, if they're able to do this business-wise, they will sow the seeds of the legal precedent for going, you can sell, single-shot semi-automatic weapons, but they can't look like military-style weapons. They have to look different. What's the difference? What's the difference between that and the vaping rule? Explain it to me. And I think it's, and by the way, Democrats might be a good strategy. Hey, guess what? You can sell a gun that is basically the same capacity and use as a AR-15 for people who shoot hogs. They got wild boar on their property. And need those occasionally. But they have to be pink and have Mickey Mouse ears installed, and they have to have a fur coating and they glisten, and they have to have an RFID tracker in them so that cops know where they are at all times. Why not? What's the difference between that and saying you can't have a strawberry vape? You can have this flavor, you can't have that flavor. Still the vape, right? Still the gun. You still have the gun, but it has to be orange, and it has to have a shark fin on top of it with bells attached.
That reminded me of that Ozzy Osbourne thing, get the gun. Get the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, 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 shoot.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right. Yeah, to me, well, yeah, well, we're starting up in 2 seconds, so we'll get back to that. We're rolling back. Are we coming back? I always get nervous when I don't. There they are.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, there was some good news. We do have a happy ending this week, which is kind of a happy ending. It's one of those, all right. It's like an all right happy ending. And Brad brought it up in our chat room beforehand or whatever. And so, and of course, stick around for the post show. We'll be on YouTube with the post show. We're everywhere else. We're on your Facebook. We're on your Periscope. We're on the actual radio, which you should listen to. WCPT820.com is the website, and you should lock that in. Check out for their events page, because we're about to announce an event, an HSRPM Live in Chicago event with some special guests, including our great benefactor, Rob, who helped us out with some computer gear, the good man himself. I think he'll make his way down there, and everybody can pat him on the back personally. Thank you, Rob Gladigan. There's been a lot of little percolations happening in that area, by the way. So, yeah, and smash the like and subscribe, please, if you could. Now, so they plant the seeds of this whole thing. Trump and Giuliani go on the news and basically make these, what they know are going to be, the media is going to run with. Like Trump knows, by the way, that they're going to run with the Trump 2024 2050 idea. That's trolling. They are intentionally trolling folks with that stuff. Trump does not believe he's going to be in office past 2024. He may or may not, depending on your thoughts on this. And this is the curious part, Johnny, that I would like to discuss with you. I think Trump's getting very nervous about this election, and I can't
believe he thinks he's going to win at all.
Well, my thing is I think he's scared of the idea that he's going to lose, because of the legal protections he has as president, but also if you thought you were going to win, easily, and that the polls were lying and that you could nail everybody else, you wouldn't go and try to extort a foreign country out of money, aid money to get things to go your way.
Dirt on a potential opponent.
By the way, you wouldn't blackmail a country to get evidence against your opponent that they allegedly tried to blackmail that country.
You might.
I don't know how that works.
Would I turn this stove on if Fred were in here?
I can't. Yeah, right. That's the that was sort of the most awkward part of this entire exchange, is that technically speaking, and Trump was withholding $250 million in aid from that. This will all come out as whether or not there was a direct timeline or not, or he made them believe there was a direct timeline, like they'd scheduled the release of the money. Anyways, but he was kind of like holding it, out of like a tall guy with a basketball, just holding it above their head, right? So, the idea though that he is going to go, that I'm going to pressure these guys to give me dirt on my opponent, which is illegal and is a form of blackmail. And what I'm seeking is based on the idea that I think my opponent blackmailed a country using the power of the presidency, when it's exactly what he's doing, is the single most bizarre aspect of all of this, right? Never mind the fact that Biden himself, like, if Trump was in Biden's position, it's almost out of jealousy that he did this, because Trump really does seem to think that if you have that kind of power, that's what you do. I mean, this is a guy who's making the Air Force stop at his resorts. He's spending time at all of his resorts largely and charging the Secret Service retail to stay there, the highest possible price, not the Expedia, Trivago or whatever that is. What is that stuff? The site? Travelagago. That guy, the dude who got busted for drunk driving on his way to a Holiday Inn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Every time Trump talks, and every time his sons talk, they all brag about the fact that they've done this kind of stuff in the past, and if you have the chance to do it, you of course do it. That's the amazing part, is that he's trying to find dirt on something he thinks Biden did that he would do if he was Biden. I'm waiting for a reporter in these situations to go, Mr. Trump, is it wrong to insist on personal favors from countries or things that would benefit your children if you're in office?
Then he'll say, like, well, of course, you know, then his crazy base is like, well, of course, they just parrot everything.
Well, yeah,
it's so maddening.
I agree, but I would like to have the tape of him answering that particular question. So that point being is that it's ridiculous, you know. It's like if he found out somebody who sounded like Biden called into the Wall Street Journal and said, ladies and gentlemen, the most important politician of our time, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Biden. Is this Joe Biden on the phone? No, this is Jake Bannon. You know, if it's like if Trump thought he had heard Biden call into the Wall Street Journal and brag about himself and was, you know, lambasting him, like, we should call him out on the carpet for that. Yeah, you should have your spokesman John Barron come out and give a statement about because we've never found that guy. So those are that element of this week needed to be addressed. That was the part that was bugging me about the entire thing, is that every time Trump and Giuliani get on, this is what they do. They plant these weird conspiracy seeds, and everybody runs with it. And we've got, as we go into the next election cycle, there's going to be tons of that.
Yeah.
And the odd thing is, people have a hard time believing that the seeds planted by Russian bots and social media and all that stuff, right, by the way, at the time when the news was going, let's see what people are saying on our Facebook page. Let's see what people are saying on our Twitter feed. Joan in Iowa says blah, blah, blah. And then you find out, well, how do you know that's Joan in Iowa? She doesn't exist. That's a phony account. That's one of 9, sock puppet accounts that the RNC.
And Joan is drunk.
Right.
Come
Joan,
on, we all know Joan.
We don't need to listen to her anyways. The real Joan from Iowa is a problem. Right. No. But in all honesty, that was a 1-to-1. Fake people on Twitter and Facebook were all over CNN for a good long while. So we're surprised, by the way, that the Russians went, wait a second, this is easy. This is really good. We don't even have to try. They read it. We don't even have to come on and go, yes, my name is John from Iowa, and I have a real problem with you.
As soon as you say name, I know.
My name is John from Iowa, you man. Listen here, okay? I'm calling from Davenport, Iowa. Get it? So listen, like they'll just read it for us in their own voice, with the news anchor's voice reading the words as if they have the same legitimacy as the words in the teleprompter. You know what I mean? Like as vetted news, and they don't. We'll be back. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Stick around during the break because, Johnny, we get to chat with the chat room in there. So it'll be nice. All right. The cat pushed the door open. I got to go shut it. Because if I don't, in the middle of the broadcast, Chud will come in, and I will have spikes in my legs, and I will bleed and die. Hold on.
Is that Chud's move?
Much better. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will bleed and I will die, and the cat will kill me. Hal Vickery! Thank you, sir. By the way, 1 second here, we'll do it right. So let's see. Wonder if Malcolm is Catholic. I don't know if Malcolm. Yeah, you know Malcolm Nance passed and Suzanne Wong passed this week. His wife, Malcolm's wife passed, and then Suzanne Wong in the same kind of like. It was like I think she passed on the day of Malcolm's wife's funeral. And any of you knew like Suzanne? God damn, she was funny. And the fact that she was on House Hunters was as baffling to me as anything else.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
One of the dirtiest comics I know. Just so funny and filthy. Just like, I just loved her. And loved the time spent with her, and it's just so friggin' sad. Just such a sweetheart. And she.
Do we know why?
Cancer. She'd been fighting cancer for a long time. She'd had, I believe she had had a double mastectomy. She'd been through all of it. It was just, like she tried everything. It's like, I want to say like 15 years. You know, it was amazing that she made it as long as she did. You know, what she was doing it right. And maybe had she had some of the stuff later, her body wouldn't have been as damaged in the process and all that. You know what I mean? Like there's...
Right.
That's, a lot of people go through that when they're healing. So, but she was just a sweetheart. God damn it. So, yeah. And then, and Malcolm Nance losing his wife, she'd been fighting cancer for 3 years. Herself. I didn't know that. I mean, he kept that pretty close to the chest the few times I've run into him. It's not like something that was in a, he was throwing up against the wall every time, some people will do that. Some people will kind of, it's almost like vicariously live through the trauma of their partner or, because that,
it's that whole, there's a whole syndrome about
Munchausen by proxy. That's when you cause it. That's when you poison your kids to make them seem sick, so you get sympathy. Is
there a version of it where you just kind of soak up somebody else's sick goodness?
Yeah,
where you didn't cause it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of. There was around. I think David Cross had that bit about 9/11. People who do it around 9/11. Like I worked in the Fake World Trade Center in Vegas at New York, in the pizza place there, and we're all damaged by it, yeah. So I've carried that with me. It could have been me,
Did they knock it down in Vegas, like in solidarity?
No, they did not. I mean, I think it's been removed slowly. Like, oh, we should probably sneak this out of here. It's awkward. But yeah, anyway, so like that, it's just been that part of this week has just been awful. I mean, yeah, not good. And it's it's interesting leading into my 50th year next week that it puts things in perspective. It's too much fucking perspective. Yeah. You can swear during the breaks on the YouTube. It's okay.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah, right. That's true.
It's so much right there, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I was sincerely broken up over Eddie Money. I thought he was really cool.
Yeah. I told my Eddie Money meeting story last week.
Over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, he and I tweeted it out when when everybody was talking about it, but like I had run into him at the Ralph's at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was carrying his baby around his neck and shopping in the middle of the night, getting groceries after tour, wearing an Eddie Money Tour jumpsuit with the word Eddie embroidered on it, which is my second rock star in their own merch clothing.
I'm all about it. I love it.
Yeah, well, I sat next to a woman on a plane who was clearly. How do I put it? She had a lot of aftermarket parts, let's just say, right? And beautiful girl, very sweet. Between me and her was this little like 9-year-old flying by himself. So we spent the entire
60 seconds, guys.
Okay, we spent the entire flight like chit-chatting and trying to make the kid laugh and stuff. And she was really nice. And I introduced myself to her, and she said her name was, people call her Pumpkin Seed. That was her nickname. People call her Pumpkin Seed. And it turned out to be that porn star Savannah who committed suicide maybe 2 years later. But Dwayne Allman was picking her up at the airport in an Allman Brothers Band jacket with Dwayne written on it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. And I was like, just in case, it beats the hell out of a guy holding a whiteboard with your name on it, I suppose.
I think I saw Greg Allman, like, back when I was a teenager flying in or out of California coming to visit you.
Yeah, I think they go back and forth to Chicago a bunch, so we're about to come back.
Greg's been dead a little while, but he looked a mess back then.
Yeah, well, it's not the years, it's the mileage, right?
Yeah.
As Indiana Jones once said.
To the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid slut you're troweling out.
Face little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Welcome back to the show.
For you guys to give up.
Welcome back to the show. So, while all this nonsense about Giuliani and Biden and all this ridiculous kind of dust-ups have been going on, we still have there's flooding in Texas. There's ratcheting up of tension with Iran. Yeah, it's the Trump week blues. Like there's always there's always something. And in the case of our relation with Iran, one of the stories that keeps coming up, and I said this for God's sake, like 6 years ago, I started talking about this, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy, which happens a lot anyways, and some of it's completely justified. So we are currently sending troops to support Saudi Arabia defensively against Iran when Houthi rebels from Yemen used perhaps blowfish drones. No, they used drones to knock out an oil field, an oil processing plant. We're sending troops to Saudi Arabia because the Houthis in Yemen sent drones overhead. We didn't send troops to Yemen about this. Why are we sending them to Saudi Arabia? Well, largely to station them in case we launch an attack when Trump attempts to launch an attack against Iran. We're not sending them to the Strait of Hormuz. We're not sending them battleships to sit off the edge of Iran like we're saying Iran's behind this and therefore we're after this. We're sending troops to Saudi Arabia. Now, one of the things that got Trump elected, that got him within striking distance, genuinely,
was witchcraft, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the dark arts.
Right, was I give witches a lot more credit than that. Was the fact that he was non-interventionist. That Trump himself was saying, even Chris Matthews mentions it a lot, no more stupid wars, right? You keep hearing that. And Matthews he's not saying that Trump is a decent dude or whatever. He's just saying that was the effective strategy, and that was the appealing part of it. And it appealed across the board to a lot of people. Non-intervention into, the Middle East especially is very popular with Occupy Wall Street people, much less Republicans, the Rand Pauls of the world and the Ron Pauls of the world, and a good portion of Democrats. It is one of the reasons why he, being against the Iraq war supposedly from the beginning, even though he wasn't, and it's easy to be against something when you have no control over the outcome. You can always have said, no, I'm not going to, that's the Bernie Rand Paul thing. Like, vote against it so you can say you voted against it when it's definitely going that way anyway. So Trump's, part of his appeal was, We got to stop getting involved in these, quote, to quote Chris Matthews, stupid wars. And never mind the fact that that has not been the case. We are not ratcheting down our troops anywhere. We have been building up the military on a technological level, apparently for either some future attack that he has a fantasy is coming that is nuclear level, or because we're going to sell all that stuff to Saudi Arabia eventually. Like, we're building product. I mean, literally, that 4th of July nonsense that Trump wanted to do looked like the 4th of July auto sale that car dealerships have. You know what I mean? Like, let's put all the new models out on the, we'll stack them in between the used cars and we'll move them to whoever the crowd is there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hippie Mama in 2002 was saying he added more troops. Exactly. This is the guy who ran on non-interventionism and was saying we don't need to be involved in this stuff. It's not our fight, and the people that we are fighting for should pay us to fight for them. So not only did he say we're going to be the best in the world, and everybody's going to be the envy, everybody's going to envy us, and we're going to have no problems and all this stuff, and best healthcare ever, and everybody's going to get it. And it'll be so much cheaper and faster and cleaner and better and cheaper and faster, cleaner. But also, we're not going to get involved in new dust-ups in the Middle East, specifically. I'm even going to talk to Kim Jong-un rather than get involved in that. And we see all that's worked out. They're just testing stuff behind his back nonstop. So, in terms of the Middle East, like, this one should be a wake-up call. As much as the, calling Ukraine and pressuring them, you would think this, that this would be the wake-up call for most national security Republicans, for example. And people were saying, they should come out and say this is wrong and push back against this. And why won't they? And yada, yada. Well, to me, the sending of troops to Saudi Arabia, by the way, a country that just killed a U.S. resident, chopped him up and got rid of the body because they didn't like what he was reporting about them. But when, this whole idea that we shouldn't have been in Iraq in the first place, they didn't attack us on 9/11. It was Al-Qaeda in camps in Afghanistan, and it wasn't even the country of Afghanistan. We shouldn't be in those places. That's been the reasonable kind of thought form for an entirety, since year one. When they started presenting, since Yellow Cake, we've all been going, wait a minute, Iraq didn't attack us. Yeah, but they've got weapons of mass destruction, and maybe they could, and they were all that fight. Everybody's antenna went up and went, we shouldn't be in Iraq because of 9/11. Well, then arguably we shouldn't be attacking Iran because of Yemen, attacking someone else. In theory. Now, we've just put new sanctions on the Iranian bank, and basically making it so that the only recourse they have to keep their country afloat is underground stuff from North Korea and Russia. So Russia and North Korea are basically keeping Iran afloat. They're their only friends in the world. We give them all stick, no carrot. And now, because the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who've been fighting against the Saudis in a religious war between two distinct sects of Muslims in this part of the world, because one sect is backed by Iran and the other sect doesn't need any backing because they're trillionaires, in theory. We'll get to that in a second. We're supposed to send troops. We're supposed to sanction one country and send troops to the other. This, from a national security standpoint, and from just a normal stability aspect, I don't care what they're saying in public. Tons of Republicans are freaking out. They have to be, because if they have an ounce of strategic intelligence, they know this is a recipe for disaster.
You would hope.
Well, here's the thing. They do it just doesn't go anywhere. You know, this is, by the way, internally, this is the Republicans' version of impeachment on their own side. They don't want to impeach the president. They just want him to stop doing this crap. And he's not going to, and it freaks them out. So that puts us in another situation. Okay, so the Saudis, 6 years ago, I was saying the Saudis are going to be broke in 5 years. So I'm off by about a year. Now everywhere in the news, Wall Street Journal, the strategic like think tanks from all over Europe are all basically saying Saudi Arabia is going to be broke next year. They're cash broke right now. They're going to be selling assets. They tried to put their they tried to do an IPO for like the kingdom, essentially, that you could invest in Saudi Arabia as a whole, and tried to raise $3 trillion. The IPO was looking like it was only going to raise $500 billion, which seems like a lot, but is not for a country that spends next to that every year. And one would think if they were really trillionaires, this goes to our fake billionaire president, why would they need troops and stuff from us? They just bought a bunch of our stuff. Why would they need any material support like they're Israel all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how come if they're that rich and we owe them that much, you know, as far as our security in the world? Ever since oil has taken a crap in its cost because of the move towards efficiency in the world, because Europe and the United States are trying to get rid of our use of fossil fuels. And there were two reasons for that. One is the air we breathe. Mm-hmm. And second one is our national security being tied to a very volatile part of the world. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, I think we are in the process on some level of shoring up and protecting Saudi Arabia just so they don't start cashing out of the stock market in an election year. Because that's where they're going to get their money. That's where it's the same thing when the Chinese economy takes a dip. It doesn't affect us in the traditional sense, but all of the people there, and especially the rich people there who hide their money in the U.S. stock market, have to start siphoning it out and makes the numbers go down. That's what this is about. We'll be back. They do pay cash, and they're running out of it. There's a lot to be confused about, Jude. I completely understand. LGBTQ is being erased along with a lot of other issues that this administration doesn't care for, is afraid of. It shows character to fight for rights of all, no matter how you personally feel. Well, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Cheryl. One of the essences, this was the president who was like, I'm going to be the best LGMNOP president ever you watch for gays and the whoever else. I'm going to be the best for them. And then immediately rolls in and starts pushing the Stephen Miller plan and saying transgender people don't deserve to fight for their country. No matter the fact that they're willing to sacrifice their lives or have a valuable skill we need, they're unwelcome in our military because they give Stephen Miller the icks. I don't know what the other reasoning is. I guess the idea is that they don't want, eventually, this seems to be so that the U.S. government doesn't have to pay for people's transition surgery. This is along the lines of their religious objection to abortion stuff. This is where this all falls in. The idea that the VA hospital would start doing sex changes is what freaks them out. I think that's the main root behind all this. But if you ask him, best TMI president, GB2, 2 Corinthians president ever. Yeah, Aramco. Thank you, Professor Frank. Yeah, the IPO was for Aramco, which is basically buying into the kingdom because it's nationalized. They paid the public in Saudi Arabia $36 billion last year, just like for hanging out. It was for the coronation. Here, go spend some money.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
So the Saudis themselves, here's our perception in the West, I think largely, is that, and it's, there's seeds of truth in there, is that Iran, the public is very pro-West. The mullahs and the controlling, the powers that be within there are very anti-West. And that tension is constantly at play and out of our control, and we are trying to, I guess, foment some level of revolution by just not letting the upper echelon of that society skate by and control the rest of the populace and operate as if everything's hunky-dory, while we are basically forced to use the product. This has been the issue with oil forever. And it has grown increasingly obvious, I think, over the last 2 decades. We have been fighting wars for oil. It was the necessary engine of growth. While it is the absolute way that Western countries built what they're building, it is absolutely now the way that China and India are building the way they're building. It is how we get trucks and airplanes full of aid packages everywhere. Fossil fuels have been the machinery by which the grease that makes this engine, it keeps it from grinding to a halt, right? For good or for bad. And as the West has started to wean themselves off of, ourselves and Europe, wean ourselves off of fossil fuels increasingly, the price of oil has gone down, and our dependence and our need to get involved in interpersonal and religious conflicts and territorial disputes in that part of the world go down as well. Most, I would say, most if not all of the conflicts in Africa, in modern Africa, but for a few that are, standard disagreements about which governments are superior to each. Europe ran through those same things. There's no surprise that and fought violently about them. There's no surprise that African nations would do the exact same thing. But the secondary violence that has really kept the place in a horrifying state has usually been in the oil-rich areas, where companies come in and want the oil. The state makes a deal with them, and that oil itself becomes the barter point for and the reason for taking land from somebody else. So the war happens because, in a there will be blood kind of a way. Somebody wants to drink your milkshake, and they might be trying it by slant drilling under your border, and war breaks out. I mean, this is ultimately the Kuwait story with Iraq back in the day, right? This was the story we were told about slant drilling from Iraq and why that was meant to be. And that was when oil was far more valuable. So the reason Saudi Arabia is taking such a hit financially is because oil isn't worth what it used to be. Same thing with Venezuela. A lot of these countries where we're seeing, immense numbers of refugees, a lot of ratcheting up of violent military exercises, is basically because they were a one-trick pony for a while, or at least that was the big draw. That act was the big draw for the circus, and now they're not. Oil went from, $120 a barrel, to $60. And Saudi Arabia themselves didn't stop spending the money that they had as if it hadn't been cut in half. Saudi Arabia spent somewhere in the order of like $37 billion last year.
Crikey.
giving it out to the public. Andrew Yang, eat your heart out. Saudi Arabia gave a billion, 37 billion democracy dollars out to their citizens to celebrate the coronation of their new leader. Like, hey guys, here, have a party, throw a party because we're getting a new leader. $37 billion. I don't know how big a party you need to have. That country's not that big.
That's big.
That's a lot of money. That's a big payout. $37 billion just for a party, basically. They're spending $100 billion a year just in general. They're completely in the red financially. They're buying military gear from us in cash, and now we're sending troops there because the guy who won on non-interventionism against the crazed war hawk and corporatist Hillary Clinton, right? The woman we had to fear would start this kind of a war. This guy is now sending troops to Saudi Arabia to assist them in God knows what. We don't have a strategy. It's not. They're not saying whether. Well, these are, we're supporting our ally against Iran in this circumstance, and we're ratcheting that up. Or are these guys going to end up on the Yemen border? I mean, that's the scariest part. Are we? Because we've been involved in the in the civil war in Yemen for because of ISIS and other because of all this mishmash of stuff going on, and it is a Gordian knot. And there's plenty of argument to be made that our national security is at play in places like this. And there's also plenty of argument that it isn't, and that being not involved in it helps us immensely. I fall on that side. But let's say you argue about this thing. We were involved by giving tacit support to Saudi Arabia in their fight. Hence, one of our bombs being used to blow up a school bus, for example, which we were none too happy about. But now we're going to send soldiers, and the fact that we're sending soldiers was not what ate up the news cycle over the last 3 days. What ate up the news cycle was Rudy Giuliani, popping a stitch on Cuomo's show and people calling it the biggest breakup in history. This is my concern. Is the inseriousness with which the president treats the presidency trickles down in some way to the inseriousness with which the press itself deals with the actions of the U.S. government in general. And Can't Stop Lying brings up that we sure don't need to be going in our national parks and conservation areas to drill for oil the way Trump has been trying to do. Total insanity, irreplaceable assets, and beauty for the future generations. No question. And we don't even need it. We're an exporter of oil right now. Here's the question, and this is for your America First crowd. If America, we've been a net exporter of oil since the Obama administration, by the way. Net exporter of energy in general. We've been sending natural gas as well. We have more than we need. So if you're talking America First, and we should be able to, and the pipelines that they want to put through is so American oil can be used because it's American oil. We should use our own stuff when we don't have pipelines, and that whole argument. Why do we need to sell any of our reserves to anyone? It is a finite resource. Money? It doesn't spoil. It's not eggs, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like, answer me. It would be one thing if it was like, we keep us, and we do keep a surplus. But if the surplus was just packed, we can't actually make anymore. We'll shut some pumps down. But you certainly don't go drilling in the in protected wildlife areas and like every scenic, beautiful place in, Utah to Alaska for oil, and by the way, putting up oil fields which are hideous looking, from a president who complains that windmills are ugly, which, for the record, those big white windmills are kind of majestic looking.
Yep.
If you're flying by them, if you drive by them, if you're near them, if you see them in the distance off on a hill, it's impressive. They're aesthetically pleasing. Are they the greatest solution in the world? Not yet, of course not. Science doesn't stop. But right now, it's a damn good solution, especially in certain areas of the country where the wind blows constantly. And if we have a smart grid, we can transfer that energy to other places where the wind is intermittent or non-existent. But they are certainly more, certainly, I got very excited, certainly more aesthetically pleasing than oil pumps and pipelines leaking. What are you talking about? Oh my God, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yes. Windmills, yes. Windmills look great. They do. Am I not wrong?
Oh, no, I love them. I love driving by windmill
I mean, he
farms.
says some goofy crap on the regular, but that's one of the ones that stands out the most. Like, they look nice. Brad does bring up a good point in the chat. They do give you cancer. So
right. They do kill goats.
Which is why, as does the Swiss Miss hot cocoa, because literally they spend so much time around windmills, the Dutch, that they have, it seeps down in there. For Christ's sakes. Well, and mountaintop, like clearing, this has got to be a strategy just to make the country ugly, to drive down tourism, because, you watch, Trump's going to roll into Utah and Alaska and all these protected territories, and we're going to devastate all our natural resources. Everything's going to look like crap, and then Putin's going to put out a travel ad campaign going, come see our majestic untouched mountains and our beautiful streams with no coal runoff in them. Unlike the United States, we protect our mountains and our valleys. Good God. Thanks, Olivia. Yes, Wednesday is going to be my birthday. It's very exciting. And I want to say, thanks to Can't Stop Line for the comic books and the gifts, and well, I don't know which ones I should. There are personal gifts. Anyways, thank you. And thank you, Natalie. We had coffee on you this week. And Tom, thank you so much for the coffee as well. Apparently, it's gotten out that in my intermittent fasting, I drink a lot of coffee. So the Starbucks cards were very friendly this year. My mom does that too. But Natalie and Tom, I greatly appreciate it. If you don't have time to do that, may I suggest maybe becoming a patron? Perhaps one of our people who are out here today in our crowd, and join patreon.com/HalSparks. We have 103 patrons now. It's becoming a real thing. And it is allowing us to go across all. Thank you. Going across all these different platforms and look and sound better, or at least I don't know if we look better, but we look more real. Camera's better, and Johnny can just sit at home, and he doesn't have to drive all the way into the city. That's save on gas money. We're lowering our carbon footprint thanks to our patrons.
That's right.
Thanks, patrons. It's true. Oops.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Also follow me on Twitch. I finally worked my Twitch glitch out, so that works now too. If you watch I was gaming Gears 5 yesterday. It was a good time. It's what I do during my break while I'm editing. It's a party. And I think I'm seeing Ginger and Carl and a bunch of folks at the show on Sunday, or at the dinner beforehand. I hope so.
I'm Dick Kay from Back on the Beat, and here is the Mega Worldwide Radio Program with Hal Sparks.
Thank you, Dick. Dick follows us every Saturday. Please check him out. you know, between him and Doris, you've basically got your local Chicago politics nailed down. I'm just saying. Smart. They address the issues. It's fantastic. And I think we might have some callers, but I don't know. I'll check in a second. Chat's asking about that. I think so. Is that the case, Devin?
There's 2 callers, yes.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. Okay, thank you. I think the next step for my show is for me to be able to get the little screen up here so I can see it where I am. We're going to make that happen. Mwah, I insist. So who do we have first?
First, we got our good friend Ike.
Oh, right on. Ike, how are you?
Hey, well, I got excited thinking about the old Gordian knot. That didn't get mentioned very often.
Well, thank you. It's a good reference, and it's true. And of Middle East peace, I think it applies more than almost anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that and locking people up for refusing to answer a subpoena would be mine.
Yeah,
but,
I don't think that's as Gordian as you think. That's got a couple of steps. It's a long chain. But it's not a, you know, I would say the New York real estate market would be a Gordian knot. Yeah. Or a sweater of evil, depending on how you pull it. But yeah, go ahead.
Random thoughts. My version of Colbert's Meanwhile.
Understood.
If you can try a guy in absentia because they ran away, how come you can't try one because he committed quote unquote suicide? That's number one. Number two.
Well, they're doing all the civil. You mean Epstein? Obviously, with Epstein, obviously, what it transfers into is because you cannot punish a dead person, it's not possible. It goes to the civil courts to deal with his estate, and you can sue the estate for this. Now, I think you're right in that if the estate itself is an entity, you should be able to file criminal charges against the estate itself for the acts themselves. So that
yeah, it's kind of a rhetorical question to the point that, oh, we're going to have a big investigation and y'all just hang on, we'll get to the bottom of this and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and it's just like that IRS commissioner that's withholding a certain person's taxes who basically told the committee to go stick it in their ear.
Right.
Who's still walking around. What good is a subpoena without being able to throw anybody in jail? And if you can't throw them in jail, then your subpoena, you might as well wipe your butt with it. I'm getting sick of this crap, and I'm sick of Nancy Pelosi and this idea that now all of a sudden, oh, well, Medicare for all, I don't agree with that either. And meanwhile, y'all need to stop this impeachment crap. And, I don't get the direction of this party, they're just looking like a bunch of Three Stooges when they sit up there and they whine and they complain and they talk about all the illegal crap. I mean, look, this is kind of like Al Capone, and the crap that he got away with. And then when it came time to convict him on his taxes, he said, no, you can't see my taxes. And that was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has been breaking the law over and over again right in front of our faces and basically mooning us the whole damn time. And we haven't been able to do it.
I think the
Democrats look like a bunch of clowns.
Yeah,
they look like a bunch of clowns.
I agree that it is time. I think the tipping point is well past insofar as impeachment hearings. The subpoena process is, if you want to arrest someone, is you issue the subpoena. They can defy the subpoena. You can take them to court to make them honor the subpoena. There's an appeal process, and then you can throw them in jail. That can be. That can take.
That's not the way. That's not the way that it works in a regular situation. They took Sarah McDougal and they threw her and her husband in jail.
She had the same process. She just bypassed it. She didn't appeal.
If you're actually going to have power in those committees, it's just like they said. They've got a jail in the basement, and at that point, you take them out of the hearing room and you put them in jail. This idea that justice delayed was justice served is not right. And, oh, by the way, for your little thing about your oil, remember this. I saw a program about fracking, and the guy stood right there and said, you know what? We're getting our process down to the point that we'll even be able to make money on $30 a barrel. So they can drive it into the floor. And lastly, here's my
that's the support.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
here's my bumper sticker moment. Maybe you could pass this on to their campaign.
Okay.
The Republicans have been warring against the people for decades. It's time for us to bring a Warren to the White House.
Oh, there you go. All right, I like that.
And give it,
See?
and give it right back to them. How about that?
I like it. It's a good slogan. It's solid. You know, I do think she could have a.
Words,
yeah,
man.
I appreciate it. I will indeed. I think there's almost like her. I appreciate the call. Like I think there should be like a for the a play on the war on women. That there should be the Warren women. Like for her female supporters who come out and march for her and that kind of stuff. That'd be a good play on words. It would work. I completely agree that we are, there's obviously a tension going on in timing between Nadler and Pelosi, and they're giving deference to her as well. And we are in an age of, literally where if Nadler as a straight white male tells the woman in charge what to do or pushes back too hard, he'll be, it will not bode well for the party, right? So there's a lot of tiptoeing going on there where I don't think, the answer to the war on women is the war on women. I mean, yeah, that works. All right. So, anyways, I personally, I feel like that's part of the equation, and we have, that is being weighed out as all political things are being weighed out. I'm always optimistic that there's a proper time to pull the trap, and just because I believe the timing is one thing doesn't mean that's true. I certainly feel like it should be sooner, but I don't know that for a fact. And I don't know if that would, if a direct impeachment would cause, say, a dip in the stock market, for example, or a dip in the economy, and he could say it's because of them instead of his policies, and you get in a situation where you're about to kick a guy, but he already is down on the ground, punching himself in the face. Do you follow through with that kick right away, or do you point out that he punches himself in the face? That is, I mean, this is whether you're just rabidly for impeachment. And there's no question he has committed acts that are impeachable on every measure. The idea that anybody who supported the Clinton impeachment isn't 100% behind every single charge of impeachment that could be launched against this man is the biggest example of hypocrisy in modern in modern politics. Period. Maybe worldwide. Yeah, not worldwide. There's crazy stuff happening in Russia and Ukraine and other places right now, but. In the process, I think it's important for us to continue that push. And again, this goes to that whole vote, damn it, idea, is that there's tons of people who didn't vote because they're in a red state, and they came out and they voted for a Democrat and got their guy elected. And so there are these new, what are considered, moderate or considered conservative Dems who most of the time policy-wise are lockstep with all the policy considerations of the DNC platform and what would, all the best ideas that are coming forward, but are concerned about how they present those ideas to their constituency because they hear them differently than you do living in a suburb of San Francisco or something. They have different attitudes towards different phrases. It's the old, is it democracy or democratic socialism, or is it corporate socialism to give to bail out the farmers? That languaging matters differently to different people, right? There's a different way of communicating, and this should be especially clear to people who understand, say, the pronoun argument, that how people hear you and how you address them matters. And if you just dismiss them out of hand, you can't expect them to take your argument seriously later. So the issue, obviously, is this tension between the two of them. I think we as a public need to always affirm the support for those Democrats in those areas, too, especially by voting. Because clearly there are enough Democrats or enough people who vote Democrat in those, in those areas to elect one. Well, those people weren't born in the last year. They didn't all turn 18. It wasn't a youth sweep like it may have been with some of the other more liberal or progressive Democrats that got him into office. These are standard run-of-the-mill, every age range voters in these areas. So where the hell were they? They weren't voting. They're now so anti-Trump that they're either voting Democrat or something this candidate said finally appealed to them, or that they have always believed these ideas and they haven't been voting. And that's the unforgivable angle of this. 40% of these people out there, at least we're talking 70%, support the idea of trans people being able to serve in the military nationwide, across the board, even in red states. So where are those voters voting the reality of their priorities? Well, insofar as people who would, I'm not talking about the crossover Republicans. Like, why don't you just vote Democrat because you believe all these things? It's just this one thing you don't like. You're a single issue voter about abortion or guns or the border or something like that, and that makes you forget every other priority for every other American in the country. That's why. I'm not even talking to those folks. I'm talking to the people who just sit it out, who, if they just showed up every time, these purple states that everybody's touting right now would be blue by now. They're only turning purple because the monstrous level of what the Republicans are willing to put in the White House got so bad.
Yep.
That now you're finally doesn't like Bush in the Iraq War wasn't enough. You shrug off 8 years. Once Obama gets elected, okay. I don't need to do midterms. I don't need to do, because whatever. It doesn't really matter, does it? And then you wonder why Mitch McConnell has complete control over every bill, like every priority. Everything passes through the House dies there. You wonder? This is why you got to vote, even if your state is hyper red, you just believe it's going to go that way, or if it's rock solid blue, especially if you're like, well, it's going to go that way. I don't even need to show up. You need to be another brick. You've got to add your voice to that. So we got to take a break. We'll be back. We actually have a happy ending this week. It's kind of and it's a good one. It's a bipartisan, which means both parties across both parties. Mm-hmm. All right, there's what's the issue? What started the whole? There apparently is a kerfuffle going on in the chat room.
What?
Yep. They could vote on impeachment within a few weeks and move on to more important issues. Agreed. I think that's got to be in there. Let's see. We have several candidates who have the potential to beat Trump, but we have a lot of Democrats who seem determined to stop us from doing that because of purity tests. Yep, there's definitely an aspect of that. I blame the branding time we're in. Warren is on fire. Trump is brushing up on his Pocahontas crap. Yeah. We are fighting on whether we sit on an aisle seat or a window seat or that sucky seat in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, that's reasonable. Absolutely. So, if you like a candidate over somebody else, or you just are not feeling another candidate, then that's easy. What? Apparently, people think Carrie thinks people are fighting with her in the chat room. I have no idea.
Back in 60.
Yeah. So either way, get registered to vote, folks. Thank you. Vote.org. Make sure you're in there. Make sure your friends are in there. Across the board. Thanks for the virtual hugs. Can't stop lying. Appreciate it. Everybody needs them right now. Oh, it's stormy there, man.
It really is.
Carrie says, I'm sick of this. People not acknowledging my intelligence on certain issues. I don't know that they're not acknowledging your intelligence on certain issues. Is that what? Yeah.
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. It's now time for the happy ending. Yay!
So, one of the things that we run into a bunch is the idea that currently, anyways, in current year, Republicans have no shame. There is no bottom for Trump. He will jettison anyone or anything if it doesn't benefit him personally. And the Republican Party largely is tainted by that stain. They have to deal with that, because who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? These guys are like can't wait. They're like the little dog in the Warner Brothers cartoon hopping around the bulldog, Hey,
we gonna beat up some cats?
That's right, yeah. And they will roll over belly up anytime he even threatens to tweet in their direction. Now, right now, you've got a couple of people like Well and a couple of others who are running, who are, actually making the case that there's a legitimate conservative philosophy out there. It still exists. There are people who want to vote that way, and they're going to push back against him, right? And cool. But vast majority, these guys have got his back every which way to Sunday, and the Jim Jordans and the Devin Nunes and the Matt Gaetz of the world, all those crowd, are just constantly jockeying for position by throwing themselves on grenade after grenade. And when we talk a little bit about McConnell earlier, obviously it comes up that he's killing everything that's going into the Senate that isn't absolutely in line with what Trump wants to do. And I guess with the exception of the military budget, you can pretty much shovel anything you want. We put Medicare for all in the military budget. He'd sign it anyways, and then he'd hold it up and wag it around because he didn't know, So in the case of Mitch McConnell, something shocking happened this week. Some of you may or may not have noticed the situation there, but in the case of the shame machine that has been turned on Mitch McConnell actually worked. Moscow Mitch is Putin's, I'm not going to say the other word, paid off in dividends this week, folks. In that, on Thursday, the Senate Appropriations Committee unanimously approved a bipartisan spending package containing $250 million to help states safeguard voting systems. And Mitch McConnell was a co-sponsor, who in a floor speech before the committee's vote declared himself, quote, proud.
Very proud to support the measure.
To say, this is so he by the way, he spent the last year blocking several of these bills. Said last year that $350 million that was put out in 2018 was more than enough, and they didn't need any more. Had been pushing back against it in the entire thing, and after Mueller came out and was testifying, and said, yeah, not only did they meddle in the election, they're at it again. They're doing it right now. A day later, McConnell's on the floor saying, we don't really need, honestly, we don't need to help anymore. That's not true. That's fake news. And hence Moscow Mitch. Hats were being sold, T-shirts going around. It was apparently driving him crazy. It was apparently making him really upset. And lo and behold, we struck oil. So congratulations. And this goes to my entire theory that shame is the only weapon against these guys, no matter what they say. But it's a deep dive, though, to get there. Mockery. unbridled mockery. And I think it's largely, and this goes to the kind of puppet idea of Trump as a puppet president, kind of, Reagan being Bush's, mask, Bush being Cheney's mask, and now Trump being the mask of Stephen Miller and the Heritage Foundation and a couple of, behind the scenes Wall Street guys who like doing, puts and options on stocks and messing with them, right? So in the case of this, getting upset with this man doesn't work. That's what they want. They take pride in when you get outraged at a Trump tweet or a Trump thing and there's no humor or mockery of him attached, they chalk that up as a win.
Oh, liberal tears.
Yeah, they campaign on, look how outraged the left is because we're fighting for you, blah, blah, blah. But if you mock him in the context of it, that's why the late night hosts have played such a valuable role in this. It's, they picked up the slack where, in the gap left by Jon Stewart, who was basically the only person doing it for a good long while. Now it's kind of spread out. It has a massive effect on them. The mockery aspect is the only thing that works and is the only thing that embarrasses their followers. Laughing at Trump, poking fun at him, is his Achilles heel. Outrage, no matter how justified, righteous, or honest, is not. And I swear to God, they stack every single one of those, and they build a Game of Thrones sword throne out of all the tweets where people going, this is outrageous, I'm so offended. All those aspects, they consider them wins. So I would also say to everybody that take a page out of the Moscow Mitch storyline. Understand that worked amazingly well. And obviously Trump is, clearly vulnerable to this kind of attack. Otherwise, he would not have used it on every other opponent he had in the primaries when he ran. You use what tool you think works. I think reason works. That's why I'm kind of annoyingly reasonable. I think reason and humor work long term. I mean, obviously in the short term, there are other solutions. But in the, if you're really trying to achieve something, you treat something like a long-running process. You build a strategy towards its completion, and you chip away at it. You stand strong even when it's, it might be flagging a little bit. But you most of the time start with the strategies work. And Trump believes the strategy of mockery works because it upsets him. He hates it when people make fun of his hair. He hates it when people make fun of his orange skin. He hates it when when people call him a buffoon or a dope. He yells at his people that people are going to think he's a dope. This word has come up 10 times.
Or a baby.
Yeah. Well, dope really apparently upsets him the most. I don't know why. It seems so innocuous, but dope apparently freaks him out.
It's a shame because it applies.
It totally does. So what I would say is, feel free to use that word when you tweet about Donald Trump or you message about him during the next election cycle. There's other words to use. Throw that one in there. I'm just saying. Just let it work its way in. We're at the end of the show. Johnny Million, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can you hang a little bit in the post show with us for a few minutes?
Sure.
Just a few? Cool. And thank you, everybody listening on WCPT. We love you. Stay tuned for Dick K. Everybody out there in the Twitter streams and whatnot, or watching on Periscope and all that stuff, we'll be on YouTube for the post show. Come join us over there. We'll see you in just a minute. We'll see you next week. She brought me a tea. Oh yeah, I know. Love you, Johnny Million's back in here with us.
Thanks, Al. See you next week.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Devin.
Thanks, Devin.
Johnny, can you hear Summer? She's saying hi.
Hello.
Hi, Summer.
And there's Murph. Can you hear Murph? Oh, my God, Murphy. All night long. All night long.
Really?
Oh, my God. It's interminable. Bless his heart. He's a great cat, but he's a tyrant, and he cannot be trusted amongst normal human beings. You're a beast. I know. You sound pitiful.
His own talk show.
Yeah, he could have his own. Yeah, we're gonna have that'll be the biggest YouTube stream I ever have. Just Ginger says hi. Tom says hi. Hello. Yep. Natalie saying hi. Yep. Working out. We're health conscious over here. Looking good, babe. Working hard.
I'm shaking.
Yeah, I know. I came back from the gym and I was like, my arms are still shaking. This is good. This was good stuff. So you have your meeting? Okay. Love you. Bye. Have fun. Thank you for the tea. Lovely. I'm going to have to pee so bad at the end of the post show. It's going to be ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Yeah, leave it cracked because the cats will sneak in and out now. Natalie. Oh, yeah, I heard it. But it didn't. Okay. Johnny had a rainstorm on his end, so it covered for us.
I'm assuming Murphy went after the dog, and the dog must have snipped back. I don't know what happened.
Oh, there was a back and forth between them? I just heard dog barking. I don't know. Yeah. So.
Came running in across me, so.
Right. Hi, Jeremy Jones. Cheers, love you. Bye. Is that Maddie? Yeah. Okay, good. Just put on Freebird and take a bathroom break. That's right. It's old school. Yes, Murphy is very sweet. He's good. Yeah, so I'm going to sign off on the restream. Let's see. Can I do it on the other computer? This could be so crazy if I could do it at the same time. So, yeah, Johnny, we need to get a streaming camera for you.
Really?
Yes. Yes, really. I insist. Because it'd be awesome to be able to chat with you afterwards and see you and all that kind of stuff. If you don't want to, I mean, you could go if you wanted to. And thanks for watching.
I do like going with no pants.
I know, that's true. Well, you have a desk or something, right? Hold on. I'm gonna say bye Facebook. See you later. Bye Twitter. Follow me at House Sparks. You probably already do. Spread it around. Give me a retweet. Send out because I need to grow my numbers. I'm edging at 100K. And I'm almost there. So Hippie Mama, join us over at YouTube. I'm signing off on Periscope. And then the Twitch, you guys can stay live for a while. Just because there's only 3 of you. And I feel like you don't necessarily have, you can join us in there. So, oh no, I have to shut that off because then I want to go to no, okay, it works. It's fine. It's fine. No? I got to sign off. Yeah, I do have to sign off. Okay, bye Twitch. We'll see you later on when we're gaming. All right, there we go. So in the process of going through news this week and everything, I was just overwhelmed by how much room this the Giuliani stuff got. And it's funny. It's so funny. His
right.
It's just hilarious, that pushback. But also it is clearly a strategy that it kept hitting me over and over and over again. I'm like, we've seen this before. They plant seeds this way, and we got to stop going with it, unless, like I said, you piggyback other stuff on top of it and mess with everybody. You have to mess with them in the process. You can't, the ridicule has to have some sort of I see you, I see what you're doing, So, anyways, that's my 2 cents about those things. It's been driving me a bit batty this way.
Oh, it's maddening.
Yeah, it's and I get that there's a lot. There's reason to go after it in a normal society. This is how you should be pissed about this stuff. This should be mocked and whatnot. But you have to also be aware of the strategy that's happening when you're being played. At least be as aware as you would if you were there was a magician standing in front of you on the street that just walked up and want to say a trick, and his friend who was with him is now standing on your 6. You know what I mean? At least look at it with that level, So that's been my bug. I'm gonna roll back through the chat and see what some of the folks have had to say too that we get in here with as well. Let's see. Kansas Flames. The underlying story of Giuliani is important. Ukrainian pressure. Yeah, that's totally true, Jim. The Ukrainian story as far as what Giuliani was up to is absolutely a super important story. And the fact that he was busted saying, "Yeah, I did," was absolutely news. But in that statement, he clearly ceded that thing. That's what I'm saying. It deserves the attention it got. It also deserves a. However, I am aware that this guy is just using this as an opportunity to seed conspiracy theories for his own benefit. Yeah. Just look at let's see. 100%. Yeah, we get 100% more Johnny Million this week. It's good.
100.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because, it's 100% when you're on the show, and now you're in the post-show. Although, are you reading the chat at all? Are you seeing anything that's in there that's...
No, that would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they're kind of... That way you guys can talk to him that way, because it's just me on camera all by myself. It's like I have my magical friend in my ear. You don't have to stick around for the whole thing. I say stick around for another 10 minutes if you want to be on your way. Does that work? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Then, let's see. Click to... What is that? Oh. Click to view for... Okay. Is that... I don't even know if that's on screen right now. I think... Yeah, so Natalie's saying, "Hey, Johnny."
Yep, I saw it.
Okay, excellent. And hi, Zelda. And... Oh, that kind of... There you go. I think... Carl, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if Carl, if you guys are gonna either come up to the Flapper show or if I'm gonna see you guys later at the San Diego show at La Jolla. But you guys are, because at the level you're at, your tickets are free. Just let me know. That's really awesome. Thanks to all our Patreon subscribers. That's been really wicked. It's really cool. I'm going to be on Stephanie Miller's show for my whoops, I can't type. I'm going to be on Stephanie Miller's show this Wednesday for my birthday in the morning.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And HSRPM, a shortened version of it, is going to be on the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network.
Really?
So they're going to start airing a chunk of what we're doing on the Sexy Liberal Podcast, I think starting next week. So I'm going to deliver them all the graphics and stuff they need for all the iTunes stuff and all that. And then I'll have to do a live read for one of their, to help promote for whatever their products that they're advertising,
nice.
And they aggregate the advertising across everybody so everybody gets paid. So I'm like, that's helpful. I'm glad to help. Yes, indeed, my birthday is coming up, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Wednesday. It's very exciting. And Hump Days with Hal will be on my birthday. It's going to be good. Did I mention it? Yeah. So, yeah. So that's going to be, we're going to have, I'm thinking 5:30, Ginger, for dinner. We're saying 6. We're going to do a little dinner before the Flapper show in L.A. So we're going to have a little get-together for all the patron crowd and all that stuff. It'll be fun. And then, but anyway, so I'm also going to do a side little like half-hour podcast once a week with the lovely and talented Jackie Schechner.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So that'll be added to the Sexy Liberal Podcast, too. We're trying to come up with names, so we're up for any, I can't... Like, I think it should have Wonk in the title just because of the two of us, but I don't know. I can't come up with something that I'm very happy with across the board. So that would be the theory. So and Wes is singing "Happy Birthday" to me. It's not yet. Wednesday. We'll do a stream on Wednesday and say hi to you guys too, because I'm yeah. Thanks, Richard. Yeah, we'll do it, and we're gonna do a patron live stream as well. That was a nice hangout. It was pretty quiet compared to what we normally do. Out here, and it's out in the wild west of YouTube. So yeah. Patreon seems to be device specific.
Yeah.
No, it's across everything. I mean, the easiest way is to do it on your desktop, because it's a website as well. And on the website, it's way easier to watch the videos I post. So I just put up the July Flappers show, and the August Flapper show and the June Flapper show are already on there for you guys to watch. Little private comedy shows. So they get, I do the free ticket thing so that people can come to my shows. Like Blue Patch gets a free guest, and the upper levels get to bring get themselves and a guest, right? And which is awesome. But if you're out of town, you're like, yeah, but how does that help me? I'm far away. I post the Flapper shows, so you get a free comedy show every month that I just post online. You can watch it there that nobody else gets to watch. I'm eventually gonna take those and edit them down, and I'll put clips of them on the regular YouTube channel. But the show in its entirety is all you guys. So there you go. Pretty awesome. It's a good time. And try to.
Does a Blue Patch cover plane tickets?
What? Yes, it does.
There's a Blue Patch, yeah.
In your case, absolutely.
Aw.
No question. We will if you
Angie Donnellan asked that.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I see. Alabama to California. That's next level stuff. I'm gonna have to come up with an entirely different patch for that one. It might be the platinum patch or something. I can only leave my house for an hour at a time. I am doomed. Why is that? Yeah, no.
Sounds like Homer S to me. How's that ankle monitor fit?
Right. Miles says no dopes allowed with Hal and Jackie. The nope.
That's good.
The no dope report. Yeah, it should be a good time. It's wonk wonk, but in a positive way, right? We should just call it wonk wonk wonk, just as part of a kind of add that to the to the process. I don't even know, Johnny, if you can hear that right then when I did that sound effect. You couldn't.
No, I didn't hear that
It's
part.
very sad. Hold on. Yeah, now you can hear it. That's good. All right.
Perfect.
There you go. I'm figuring out some of this stuff. Like as we expand, we are getting into I've been pushing this Patreon thing for a while to grow our kind of stuff. We are getting close to the get somebody over here to help me run the show, in studio, like that level. Because we have so many moving parts now. I mean, I'm excited that I can do most of it. I've isolated things down to single button stuff, and as a nerd, I feel like I should be able to automate nearly everything. Like the number of things that I've automated in my, just in the process of being able to turn off graphics and turn them on with single clicks and stuff. I'm very proud of myself. But damn. There's a lot going on, especially it's interesting enough, especially you to Chicago to, and back to here again. When you're at your place, like the clean feed thing, now I know how to do it. And I did it this morning, and it took a little finagling, but I don't get to monitor my own headphone in this one. I only get to hear the other people, so I don't know what my mic sounds like. So that always makes me nervous.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Because I have to use two sources because it's not anything you can do anything about, really. It's just the clean feed the way it is as far as sourcing and stuff. Just life. So I just use a separate audio thing to run my voice into the computer, and another one to run everything else out and into the interwebs. So it sounds good. It's getting there where it sounds very professional. But you start to understand why small, even little cable access TV shows eventually have 9 monitors everywhere and a bunch of wires running all over the place and nothing, but the set looks normal. I think people have a set that they set up in a Good Day Phoenix kind of setting. Those things are so pristine and shiny and fake and game show looking, almost an answer to all the other crap that's on the other side of the room, which is just a chaos of wires and screens and lenses and lights. It just looks awful, And so I think you get almost OCD about let's make this very shiny. Everything needs to be very clean.
Oh yeah.
Thing. So is the Zoltan Hand thing the Hal Sparks fan club gang sign? It totally is. Did you guys notice that? It's on the screen today. Look at that. It's supposed.
Oh, I thought it was a thing on the wall.
No,
I didn't realize
it's actually a graphic. I can put it up there. Look at that. It's pretty nice. I made it. Those are my actual hands, and I took a picture, and then I did like one of those like to make a cutout. That's the one that's on the T-shirt that I sell. But I just didn't like that it was just 1D, you know, like white, or sorry, just 2D, just plain white with no color. So I went in and I did some artwork. I arted it up a little bit. So it looks a little better. And the nice thing is that now, thanks to this Streamlabs stuff, I think I can, if somebody subscribes, like if you're watching right now and you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel and you'll see what I mean. Or if you subscribe on Twitch, which it does both at the same time. So whichever one you're doing, it will do a little. It'll do a little dance? Do a little dance and make a little love.
Make a little love.
Get down tonight. Yes. Yeah, Jude's birthday is the same as my dad's. So happy birthday, Jude. The Two Wonk crew. Two Wonk crew. You were the 150th thumb. That's great. Thank you for that. Special round of applause for that. Oh, no, that was the wrong one. Yay. I'll get my... I'm not very Norman Goldman with my buttons yet. So, yeah. So I feel like I keep worrying that I'm losing Johnny because you're quiet. So how you doing? Yeah, thank you. Make some noise. So went and saw Metallica since I talked to you last.
Oh, where?
S&M 2 in San Francisco.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, my buddy Stephen Brewer and I went up to there, and we did like an old school high school road trip. Just got in a car, drove up to San Francisco, saw the show, slept overnight with the lovely Kathy. Gave us a flop spot. We crashed on her floor, did the show from there, and then drove back the next day. It was great. It was
perfect.
Yeah, it was. I still feel like I would rather see them by themselves.
Oh, totally.
And this is true of almost every band that plays with a symphony. Because it's like they're running through mud. It makes stuff drag.
Yeah, you don't hear you lose all the percussion.
Yeah, exactly. The dynamics get very laggy.
Urgency.
Right, yeah. But anyways, it was cool. It was a cool experience either way. And we went up to Haight-Ashbury and hung out there and ate a bunch of Chinese food, and it was awesome. Yeah. And then we are seeing this Tuesday at the Jam Night. We got, I think, Bullet Boys are performing in whole or in part. I'm hoping to like jump on and sing with Mark for a second. He's become a friend.
He's still a good singer.
He's amazing. And I will say, Mark Torian from the Bullet Boys is Latino or Hispanic American, depending on how you would like at it. Was faced a lot of early discrimination on the Sunset Strip when his band was first coming together. One of the first people that championed him, though, and said, leave him alone, was Tommy Lee. Literally stepped in the middle of a minor race riot that was about to start and was like, dudes, cool down. This guy's awesome, you know, and we love each other. This is great. Like, he kumbaya'd everybody. So Tommy Lee, big points for that. And Mark is he's like Henry Winkler level sweet as a person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just that kind of like loving, open-hearted, sweet guy. He's very demanding when he's playing, apparently. So he has a rep for like, you know, these monitors are effed, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have heard some pretty funny things of like that when they go on tour. Like, they're big. Like we have to be paid before we go on.
Oh, that's not demanding. That's business. Yeah, that's the result of history. That's a scar talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was like, anyways, he's a sweetheart. He alone are going to be there. I don't know if Chip Z'Nuff can make it, but the other guys from Enough's Enough are going to play, which is cool.
Isn't Chip the only guy left, though?
Yes. Of the originals, yes.
Yeah.
But they've been playing like this for a while.
Right,
right. Yeah, so, and let's see, who else? There's a chance Don Dokken is going to sing. That looks like that's happening. He's done it before.
That's craziness.
Yeah. Act says
How's
my girl.
His voice hanging in there?
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
I will say. I mean, he was always breathy, and that'll screw you up.
Yeah.
That was the problem that Mike Tramp had. Like you do that breathy singing style. Rise again, little fighter, and it's like sandpaper, man. It's aesthetically pleasing for a while, but it's making me cough just doing that little bit. And sneeze. Wait, I have a sneeze coming too. That was brutal. I don't know how he gets through a whole song. We'll see. It's coming. Yeah.
Oh, I'm waiting for it now. I'm gonna watch it.
There we go. Mike used.
There it is.
Yes.
And there.
Mike used Fly High Michelle in one of his trivia games this week. I think that might be the song I'm doing with them. So we'll see. And Jim says, we have both kinds of music, country and Western. Yeah, so it'll be, it's going to be a good time. Leah Thompson seems to be open to singing a duet with me.
Who's that?
From Back to the Future.
Oh, man. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. I didn't know she sang.
Oh, yeah. We were on Celebrity Duets together.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So she sings. She's got a great singing voice. And her daughter's an amazing singer and actor. Yeah, yeah, she's terrific. So there's, I'm hoping she's able to come through. She said yes. But it's a matter of scheduling. We'll see. That's always the case. Showbiz types, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just made me choke on my dab, Hal Sparks. That'll do it. Bless you, Hal. That for the sneeze. Yes. By the way, I live in fear of you hearing Steven go into a Steven sneezing fit. Oh, like if he has one during a show or something, I can go with that. I can make that happen. I can.
EO says Leah Thompson from Howard the Duck. That's a
yes, dude. I don't know if you recall, but literally 15-year-old Hal went to see Howard the Duck, the movie, knowing full well it was going to be crap because rumor had it that Leah Thompson was in her underwear in it.
Yep.
That is 100% why I went to see that movie. And that's 100% what I saw, and I don't remember any of the rest.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you what the hell happened in that movie. I honestly don't know. Yeah, but that's true. So, and then we have...
And they keep threatening, the MCU keeps threatening Howard the Duck on us.
Well, I mean, they made Rocket the Raccoon work, and nobody thought they could. That was, I mean, the miracle of Guardians is not that they were able to make that storyline work. It was the fact that Rocket became such a great character, not just, oh, that's cute. They, because it's like Chewbacca. Chewbacca's ridiculous on paper because he's Bigfoot. And in the 70s, Bigfoot and UFOs were all the rage.
Yep.
And it was just this dumb moment where George Lucas was going, what if Bigfoot comes from space? What if there's a planet of Bigfoots? What if Bigfoot's And then they I'll just put Bigfoot in the movie. We'll have a Bigfoot. And that's what he did.
You're not that far off. Like so much of the stuff that George Lucas threw
so ham-handed.
It was just really random. Like he did not know what he was doing.
Yeah. And the idea that there was a sequel, by the way, or that he was planning on any sequel, like, oh yeah, I had this all, I totally had this all figured out.
He didn't think the first one was going to be made.
And the poster is proof. Because if you see the original Star Wars poster, which is a work of art, I mean, it is
like the
Luke in the center,
Luke with a big chest, and
Leia clinging to his leg.
Yeah, I remember that.
You would have in the PR meeting gone, ahem. Excuse me, fellows. That's his sister in the next movie. So maybe we have her not clinging. She could still be there, but maybe not clinging like.
And we can show just as much leg.
Is she right next to his dangly bits? Because it looks like she's copping a feel. Maybe no. I am going to see the new Rambo tonight.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that's happening.
I'm very excited about it. Yeah. It's funny because like the dude from the Sun-Times crapped all over it, but a bunch of other people who are reviewing it were like, it's kind of amazing.
Huh.
You know, and 6 is Rambo. Why? I'm a Rambo fan. I like the movies. I like Sylvester Stallone as a person.
He may as well make a good one.
Yep. I mean, the Rocky Balboa movie in and of itself was a solid movie even without the existence of the other Rocky films. As a story of a benched boxer coming, back into the ring because society has decided that, to give him another shot in an exhibition and what that means to him and all that stuff. It was actually a beautiful story. I love that movie.
I think that's the one I never saw. There might be 2 Rockies I never saw.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and saying, I heard Rambo was awful. He's going after Mexican rapists. Well, no one would want to go after Mexican rapists. That's a terrible idea. You should leave the Mexican rapist be. He's got a Mexican, niece or daughter who gets kidnapped. She's Mexican too. So the idea is that he goes and gets her. If you recall, it's very similar to Man on Fire in terms of the Denzel Washington thing, except that was just kidnapping for cash. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say cats.
Yeah, cats. That's what it is. That's what they want. Give us all your cats and some chew toys so they won't be bored. Right. The Trump angle, that's what The Guardian said. Well, that's how The Guardian would see it. You have to be able to see past that stuff or he gets to dictate. I don't let Trump put his glasses on my face. And
you get so much makeup on you.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, the little things you wear, I guess when you go to the little tanning thing or whatever, like give you the ghost eyes.
Right.
Yeah. Stephen Lee says Princess Leia was teabagging Luke. I think it was the other way around.
Other way around.
Yeah, but okay.
That's all right.
We saw Ad Astra last night. We went and saw that one.
How is that one?
It's good. It's a very patient, beautiful film. It's very measured. It's not, it has a lot of exciting points to it, and a couple of them are fairly shocking. The baboons was a nice touch.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying.
I didn't expect you to say baboon.
Yeah. You wouldn't, would you?
No.
But in going through it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked the overall mission of it. And this is interesting. Chat room. And has anybody seen it? I'm not going to give anything away by talking about it. Because you can tell basically what's up from the trailer. His dad did something. He's got to go deal with his dad. And he's having second thoughts, right? You can get that from the trailer. The whole thing works as an allegory for Alzheimer's.
Huh.
A parent losing their grip and your fear that you may also lose your grip, and then your decision about whether or not to save them or let them go. There's a lot, there's a lot to it in that. You know what I mean? Just because the movie is very poetic. It is not Interstellar. It's not, an action film. It's very paced. It's quiet, I would say, more than almost anything. Just like space. Yeah. So I enjoyed it quite a bit, for the same reason I enjoyed the patience of movies like Blade Runner, although there were more action sequences in Blade Runner. It had the dog.
Who's that?
You guys haven't seen the dog yet. Should I go get the dog and bring it in and show it to everybody?
Dog. Bring the dog. I gotta go. Bring the dog.
Oh yeah, okay. So and then I'll let Johnny. You can see the dog, and then you can comment on the dog, and then he's not leaving right now.
Go get him.
Downstairs. Hold on. I'll get him. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves, Johnny. Hold on. Rosie.
I didn't know he had a dog. Or does anyone know, is he at Summer's place? Probably. Poupe.
Okay, she's leaving. All right. Okay, love you. Bye, Rosie. Sorry. No, Rosie. She's on her way out the door back to her real house. Sorry. Wah, wah. Oh, well. Sorry I made you stay, Johnny. My bad.
You made me stay.
Yeah, bad me. Well, yeah, I don't have a dog. We were house sitting a dog or pet sitting.
Nice of you.
Yeah. Summer's ex's dog. So
interesting.
But we're good people like that. Ethan's dad's dog. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah. So anyways, Johnny Million, I'm gonna let you go. I'll continue to talk to the chat for about another hour. You guys are awesome. We love you. We're so glad to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I adore you. I need to talk to you about a couple things, so we will talk later.
Cool.
Very positive things, and we will. It's just logistical and that kind of stuff.
Right.
We'll figure it out, especially that the live show too. I want to make sure that it's a date that doesn't interfere with anything you're doing either too. So
yes, please.
So we'll talk schedule and all that. But you're wonderful. Everybody say bye to Johnny. And and we'll see you next time. You're adorable. You're wonderful. Bye.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay, bye. Okay. Now, I think this works fine. All right, yeah. Looks good. And I don't even need to put, well, headphone helps, I suppose, in here. If I do echo cancel, do I have to, I don't know how it works. All right. You did? Yes, bye, Johnny. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it. Now, let me see. I'm going to grab this chat room and put it over here because I keep having to look over in this corner, and it's just like, there's so much craziness. So, yeah, talk more about Ad Astra going through dementia now with my mom. Not a good relationship to begin with. The Tommy Lee Jones character and like what his how do I talk about it without giving it away? What he was trying to accomplish, whether or not he was successful or whether he should have quit or kept going. It all makes sense for someone kind of losing their mind. And the question about, whether it's, people blaming them for it or if it's just circumstance, there's a lot in there. It's, like all those movies, like Blade Runner is all about, man's relationship with God and his slaves. So anybody under them. So it's about hierarchy and your frustration with points in that hierarchy. What concert did I attend before Metallica? I mean, I've seen a bunch of them. I don't know what you mean. Reword that for me, please. If you click on there you go. Get into trouble, sure. There we go. Did I miss something? What was the dust up with Carrie earlier that I missed? What was the issue? I mean, I don't disagree that she's the recipient of the occasional pylon. I don't know how much she well, hold on, let me roll that. Yeah, it's hard to say. Carrie wants to rule over us all. This is sort of true. Yeah. She does get to be the language police at times. I actually wrote a book about losing someone with dementia where there were complicated familial issues just to work out losing my mom. Uncle open for Steely Dan at Ravinia. So you got to go. Of all people, actually, your uncle got to go. That's amazing. She's giving people homework. What was she giving you homework about? She gets offended if we disagree with her. Yeah, I know. She means well, and she's trying. Oh, is Tom leaving? We're losing Tom Hebert. Oh, Tom Linzer. Okay, good. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. There's so much going on. It's hard to keep track of everything. It's a lot more work. UB40 and Shaggy next Saturday. What a strange combination. Whoa. 74. My first concert of theirs was 1980. I was 10. Holy smokes, dude. Just a concert you went to before Metallica. Oh, I see. Let's see. The last concert I saw right before them? I went and saw Metal Allegiance here in Vegas. I saw Bon Jovi with Doug Pinnick. He and I went because Phil X is playing guitar with them. We went and saw that show. I mean, I see a bunch of smaller bands too. But yeah. Carrie was going about how gay people are losing their right or have. Which one? Which rights? What rights? I'm just trying to clarify so I know what was the sticking point. I can't quite figure it out. Remember it. I have it. I still have one of my Love Gun records from when I was a kid. I have a couple of other ones. I have one from when I was in high school as well. And so I have, and it was a pop gun. It was great. Did you see my comment about Cubs and WGN? I did not. What was said comment? Chat gets very big, I have to say, with the rest of the other ones going. Let's see. Oh, wow. Can't do concerts anymore. TBI and the music base makes me feel sick now. Ricketts need more money. Jay Giles Band was your first concert at the Boston Garden. My blood runs cold. Yeah, do we just send some love to Carrie? Because and maybe that's part of this too. Maybe that's kind of what I was talking about with the Rambo thing. Is like, it's amazing to me how many people let other people like dictate their view of things. That, we do this a bunch with the whole like getting offended on other people's behalf. That's where problematic and offensive come from in a lot of ways. Is this secondarily offended? I'm not really offended. I mean, I understand what you said is offensive, but I'm worried you'll offend someone else. So you should change what you're saying. I'm not hurt by it, but they are, which kind of infantilizes and diminishes them as a complete person. Because if you can hear something offensive and not be hurt by it, so can someone else. And that's the better position to be in, instead of defending people's weakness, supporting their strength and their resiliency. So that's, I mean, it's always a tiptoe. He's worried about South Carolina judges at 45 is appointed, and she should be. Yeah. Vote. And P.S. when was it? Hold on, I even have to look this one up. The most recent. So August 16th, the log cabin Republicans endorsed Trump. Judges and all. Carrie's in really, she's on disability. Oh, I see. The rain from Chicago is about to arrive here. Oh, yeah. It sounded really heavy where he was. Holy smokes. You guys. Rain from Chicago sounds like a band. Right. It's like Cooler by the Lake. That was a band in my... it was a high school band when I was in high school. They were at New Trier. They called themselves Cooler by the Lake. Rolling Stones. That's funny. The nice thing about that is you could say, I was 7 when I saw the Rolling Stones for the first time. That could have been any time. That could mean you're 10 now. Hilarious. Yeah. By the way, one of the first things I want to do if and the Vegas crowd, if you're around, the Vegas patrons, we're going to schedule after my birthday next week. Before I go to San Francisco, I'll be in Vegas. I want to do our mini golf outing. It's gonna happen. Whoa, Poplar Creek. No jacket required. My friends in high school used to call that album "No Talents Required," and I regret it. Which patch did you send out? $10 level. They are. Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you have the blue one, it's the same one. You just get another one because you have one. I mean, I've only got a limited number, so some of the people who already have their blue patches don't get another blue patch. They just get the extended. They're on a list so that you guys can come to shows and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to be sending out little free stuff, different things to the $10 level guys. So I ordered some samples of some stuff. And you guys the patrons will get the samples of some of the cool stuff I'm designing. Fingers crossed if it turns out good. If it sucks, I'll just shelve it. But I've got all new like t-shirts and merch being away. And like once people have been like a patron at a certain level for a certain amount of time, I'm going to be sending these little care packages out because like right now, like people, according to Patreon, people tend to join and then dump out after they've gotten the stuff, and then they'd get the downloads, they do the stuff, and then they don't stay on for another month or whatever. So they suggest you keep going for a little while and then give incentive gifts, and I think that's right. It's and most of this, again, all the Patreon stuff is to support the show, so that's where all of it goes. So anything I'm throwing your guys' way, mail-wise, stuff-wise, is all on a separate dime on my own. And the show thing's obviously the easiest one, but and the downloads and all that kind of stuff. But there are going to be these, like, as I develop new merch and stuff, you guys are going to get little care packages and stuff like that is the goal. That's what I'm trying to work out right now. So yes, and I agree, vote blue no matter who. You don't get a yellow one, Jude, for that one. There's a different color coming. That's another side thing. It relates to something Ginger said. So, yeah. Just throw me the first patch I went. Yes. Yours, I want to say yours went out, but if you haven't gotten it yet, that concerns me. Take a small mask. That's good. Well, I'm pretty sure all of them came for and have signed that thing to support the nominee no matter what, So CSL, did you hear that Madonna wants cell phones left out of her concerts coming up? I'm for it. It does, it's kind of nice to have a few pictures of the experience, but I've gone over the part where I take any video or film of a concert, but there are just some people are just shooting the show the whole time. And you're like, this is not what this is. You're supposed to be here. You're here seeing it live for a reason. Experience it. Look at it. Listen. Don't, it seems odd. I mean, it's odd enough holding food while you're at a concert, like, eating a pretzel during, Enter Sandman. It's weird. It's a weird thing to experience. But to also, I don't know. I'm a little scattered this morning. I gotta get some sleep. This is ridiculous. Oh, beg your pardon. I've been at it. Please factor me into your mini golf outing. It's not too much trouble. Oh, of course. Yeah, the phones are just, like, it takes up so much space just in the field of view. And, you know, like, comics always have to deal with this because while you're working on a bit, somebody will post it before it's finished, you know, and comedy's one of those things because the perception is that it's off the cuff all the time, which a good portion of my stuff is, thank you very much. But also there are pieces that you're working on, you're developing, you're tweaking, trying to find the right way, the economy in the words, the proper placement of the punchline, all that stuff, the timing of it. It matters, you know. And if somebody posts the joke online and it's an inferior version of it, it's bad for business. And it's unfair. It's like if, you know, you chose what car you were gonna drive. You know, you're saying, you want to see what kind of cars Ford makes? Look at this thing. Doesn't even have any paint or wheels on it. You know, like, yeah. Agreed. I like yellow. I worship the sun. Sun worshipers. All right. Well, we'll make a special exception for you then. I'll answer it for you. If no, just you know. As a short person, it's super annoying to be behind someone holding up a phone the whole time. Oh, absolutely. It's bad enough when their hairdo blocks your way. Angie's going out official. Spoon 2020. It's like the secret to the Matrix. There is no spoon. Do not try to bend the spoon, for that is impossible. Only seek to know the truth. What's the truth? That there is no spoon. Whoa. I apologize to all the people sitting behind me at concerts. He's tall, he films it, he's got fabulous hair. I've had so much stand-up material stolen, it's why I switched to improv for a while. Yeah, it's frustrating. Headphones to all cell calls and none in the car are my rules. All right. That's a good one. And also we're talking about nuts. Nuts being good food. This is true. Yes, that's right. Back in the day, Bic lighters. They didn't take up a lot of space. It was a tiny little flame. It was part of the concert-going experience. They need it, like, I don't know if, like, I guess vapes, they should put a light on the end of a vape so that you can hold your vape up like a light. Let's see. Yeah, and Ginger, this is a very strong point. The more we broadcast what we dislike about someone or we hate about them, the other side will see it and use it. Absolutely. I mean, all you're doing is arming the opposition. Do you throw out guitar picks after your concerts? I throw out during the concert. Yeah, I do. And by the way, that's part of what the wait has been for some folks. You're going to get a new pick in the mail. I ordered new picks because I was running out of the ones that I had, and I'm trying a new style because I've been working on my guitar playing, and I just modified the size pick that I use. So instead of, you know, after I tried them for a while, I was like, okay, now I'll get some printed and I'll try them on stage. So I'll send a couple of those out. Yeah. I bring my weed and incense to a concert. It's great. Stay away from the brown Kool-Aid. Who crapped in the punch bowl? Dabs ahoy, chat. Yeah. Better to toss your guitar pick than your nose picks. Careful, somebody's going to steal that one from you. That's not good at all. I totally blew off saying the like and subscribe stuff today or whatever. We got all caught up in the initial. I got flustered with the opening graphics because everything was like video-wise. Everything seems to be pretty groovy, right? Color-wise, we're all right. Like this is, and I think. Dun dun dun. It's gotten a lot better. Better. But I like at the beginning of the show, I was like, God, for God, what's wrong? And you know what was odd? This is the amazing thing. my YouTube kept dumping off, and it was the stream stopped working. It worked when I turned the quality up. That's the first time that's happened. I was at 720p just to protect myself. I put it up to 1080, and then the stream was working fine. I think it's bizarre. Hey, Hal, did you once tell a story about your dad's reaction to the song The Gambler? Yeah, well, I sang The Gambler. The first thing I ever performed in public in my life, I think I was 6. I sang The Gambler at the Owenton County Fair on the back of a hay wagon with a live bluegrass band. We were not able to watch last week's show on YouTube. Did it record? It did. You mean this show or the Patreon one? Because the Patreon is a private link, but it is there. I'm gonna post that. You should be able to see it from the original link, but just in case, I'm gonna add another post to clarify. So it's the Russians fucking with me. That's right. That's exactly what's happening. We got a good amount of likes, considering several times we lost upwards of 75 viewers at times. The spinning was rampant today. Yeah, I don't know what that was, because it was like, as far as the output goes, like, my bandwidth has never been more rock solid. I now have a little arc going here. Can I show you what I don't even know if it'll show itself. Could you? Let's see. Maybe. I'm gonna try this. Let's go crazy. Why not? Okay, so hold on, close this and screen. Okay, what do you see on what is in the shares? Okay, options, show picture in picture. No. Yeah, I was trying to show you guys that it did not work. I apologize. But my rolling required bandwidth is 2.4 megabits, and it's been at 3 pretty consistently. Oh, it's weird. It doesn't like the desktop. That's really odd. Wait. Oh my God, that is so strange. This was the same thing I was running into with Twitch. It's like the use of bandwidth to upload stuff is very different. That's curious. Let's back up. Why is this so top heavy? I don't know, you guys. It shouldn't have been. But hello. So, like and subscribe. Would you like to buy a tie? Right. Buffering. Damn it. Yeah, so apparently when it started buffering, it was it has to do with what this stream, what it's showing. Because when I did screen share, that's when it freaked out. Like, it's just, yeah. Told you about this. As the show from last week was stuck in live for 4 days. There was no watchable show. I see it finally appeared. I'll have to watch it. Yeah. Yeah, it was that was a really odd thing. I'm not quite sure. Well, here's the thing. Last week, because I had planned, I was so being good. I'd scheduled the Patreon gathering put it as private or unlisted or whatever, and went back to doing what I was doing. When I went to restream, it doesn't fix that setting in YouTube. So it was live everywhere else, but it was unlisted on YouTube. And then when I made it listed, it went to a different link. It was crazy. So it's still there, and it was under the wrong name and all kinds of stuff. It's just the learning curve of streaming in multiple places. I outrun my feet tech-wise. That's my problem. But yeah, literally, I'm at 5 megabits on this stuff, and it's clean as a whistle. It takes a dip, and this is really interesting because it says bandwidth statistics. They change on every shot. So when I did that, like literally, when I did that, when I went to the other shot and showed the picture, it freaked out and took a crap. I don't understand. And now it's higher. Like different. That's so odd. Like literally different screens in this software change the bandwidth. My bandwidth is at 7 right now. Like you could walk me through field surgery. I don't understand. It's very strange. Now your posted chat comments are sharp and clear. I know, isn't that weird? Look at that. Look how nice that is. It's bizarre. Just clicked on last week's show. It says now waiting for. Yeah, that's the. I will remedy that entirely. Who is a creator for their channel? Yeah, who's anybody else a YouTube creator or have their own channel? Thanks, Rocky Mountain Mike. You have a Rocky Mountain Mike. You have a YouTube channel. See you, Mike. Wish we could see you while you're out here in California. That would be very cool. I agree. Could put comments above my head. This is true. Then they seem like thoughts. Wow. Jamie's right. One day let's see. Jude's got 2 channels. There we go. All right. Shell Bell has no content. Oh, there you go. Yeah, have him post his impersonations. There are these 30 impersonations in 1 minute videos that people do. They get a lot of clicks. I'm a creator, but I'm a tech infant. These are like thoughts I'm having. It looks like thoughts I'm having about Ginger. I have a YouTube channel, but it's cringe. Why is it cringe? And Lisa Carper has a channel for work. Okay. Carl has a channel that I did not know. That's cool. What'd you do? Because I'll collab with you guys. That's what you're supposed to do in the YouTube world. You're supposed to collaborate with people in their channels. Why not you guys? Why don't I collaborate with you guys? We just do a Skype call and we'll video it and you post it. It'll be fun. Why not? Yeah, it's a curious thing. Trump's new argument, he's immune from all criminal investigations in new tax return lawsuit. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. The state's ultimately going to go after his businesses, and they're going to lose their business license. That's just a reality, and it's a rubber stamp thing they can do. YouTube channel has some stuff on the D-Day beaches, Civil War battlefields, and other historical sites. Oh, that's fascinating. Cool. There you go, Jude. Yeah. Post like the wind. Uh-oh. Look out. If you know what I'm saying. There you go. Jude's got 500 subs. That's nothing to sneeze at. There's people with brand deals that have fewer than that. It's crazy. Why is it so hard to get Trump's taxes? So goddamn aggravating. Largely because you want it to be tough to get anybody's taxes. If you can get anybody's taxes, you can get everybody's taxes. And we all want, yeah. It's, it's like getting rid of the filibuster. The filibuster. Listen to me. Hey, man, I'm coming out here. I don't want you guys to vote on this bill, man. It's the filibuster. The filibuster, you want to get rid of it until you need it. Your urbexing channel, so now I can do live urbexing from here. That's cool. There you go. I was indeed in Spider-Man 2. It's true. Anybody want to try candy corn pizza? Get out of here with that. Candy corn is nasty. White trash marzipan. It's gross. I had pizza this week. It was not fun. I had it at Steven's birthday party at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. We sat at the famous booth. They're all famous. Back booth at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Had appetizers, and then I had a salad, and then I got on the road and drove, and there you go. It was a party. Woof. It was a fake elevator. It was fun. He's a good guy. He's a good soul, and he's done a lot of good work for Heal the Bay in Santa Monica. So there you go. Tic Tac Pie. Oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Yes, I have been just about everywhere. There's a couple places I haven't gone, and I definitely want to go. I realized after talking to some people, I've never been to Alaska, and I'm like, I think Alaska and Montana are the two states I've never set foot in. So I need to fix that. So I'm going to fix that in my 50th year, as a gentleman, traveling about and all these things. Don't you know? What is urbex? Pardon my ignorance. Am I going to tour in Cali anytime soon? I'm actually, I'm in Burbank this Sunday. I'm on performing on the Sunset Strip on Tuesday. I'm in La Jolla outside of San Diego all next weekend. The following weekend, the 4th and 5th, I'm in San Francisco. San Francisco, open your golden gates, open your gate and let me in. Yeah. So enjoy that. Know that. No, that's the wrong one. Pooh. Oops. Yeah. I want to go to... who's breaking the law? How is a lullaby racist? What lullaby is racist? Alaska is amazing. I did a cruise up there, and it is so worth it. Well, excellent. Yeah, my buddy Steven is actually doing a cruise in with his all next week. It's one of the reasons he's not playing with me at the Jam. Is because he's literally going to be doing a cruise with his parents. Hold on, I'm shrinking this guy down. Shrink, you silly man. That's good. That's too small. How do I do that? Yeah. That was far too big, right? Turn that on, and then shrink it down. Oh, I don't want to shrink that down. To shrink this guy down? No, I don't want to shrink that. I'll shrink it this way. There we go. That was crazy. There you go. LA, the La Jolla Comedy Store next week. Stand up. There you go. Look at me being all professional-ish. We'll see. Yeah, and then Northern Alaska is going underwater. This is true. They're going to log the whole state of Alaska. I don't doubt it. I mean, they're going to try. There'll be a lot of pushback. Yellowstone is indeed amazing. This is true. Thanks. It's a realistic picture, you know. It's not touched up or anything. Can you see my little dimple? So that's, yeah, so that one's, here you go. That guy there. And then I think there's one, yeah. And I'll make it gigantic, and I'll shrink that one down. Allows you to, you know, oh no. I can't believe it. That is so weird. Sorry, guys. I figured out what the dips and the rolling the thing and the is. Ecamm can't handle the graphics. It flips out. We have reached the, yeah, hi. That's my bad. Yeah, so I started putting little pictures on the screen. Pretty simple overlays. Nothing, you know, nothing too big. I mean, I've obviously got a lot of going on in this right now, obviously, with, you know, all these guys and that guy and this guy. And, yeah, this guy. And there's the chat's there. There you go. That was the old, that's the, yeah. So, yeah, I'm getting too fancy. I was weighing it down. I'm going to have to experiment. So, if you see me live after the show today, hopping on, and you feel like joining me, please do. But if I pop on and off, it's because I'm trying other live streaming options. So we may have struck the limits on what this is what's possible on here. Get ready for my live stream, House Sparks chat. Have a great time, Benny Loco. Enjoy. And and then every time I have to watch commercials. I'm sorry, Charles. Sorry, Charles. Yeah, the tech, I literally have, this is another situation where I have totally sacked the software. And it's a shame because the best part about this software, more than any other aspect of it, but you know, besides its integration with Streamlabs now and its other stuff, is the fact that I can put your quotes up on the screen really easily. It's great. That's the best part about it. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's like water through a dam. I'm putting a finger here and it makes it up. It makes another hole elsewhere. The 420 cruise. What's the 420 cruise? Yeah, help us improve our tech, because I might be going back to Wirecast at this rate, depending on, because now I think they incorporate Streamlabs as well, which means I could put chat stuff on the screen that way, which is integral to the whole thing. So I'm going to be experimenting. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sign off now and get at that, and hopefully get a jump on this, because I'm not going to enter my 50th year, damn it, not having this stuff working. Son of a bitch. Yeah. It's always something with me. I know. But in all honesty, I feel, guys, that this year is going to be a good one. I'm excited about my birthday, and I'm excited about my, you know, it's funny because you guys know I do my goal setting the night before. I'm going to be on stage the night before. So I've got to, I think I might do it Monday and finalize it on Tuesday morning. And Wednesday, I'd like to do a stream, and I haven't decided whether it'll be. I think it'll be open to everybody, but it might be a separate patron one on what my goals for the year are. The like make a little layout of what I'm attempting, and because I've noticed with my fitness goals, making them public helped me. Some people it doesn't. It depends. I'm really good with publicized goals because it keeps the pressure on. And so I may run down and kind of like create a whole spreadsheet of what I'm going to do this year and this coming year and share it with you guys. If you have any interest in that whatsoever, that would be kind of a good time. Technically, it's your 51st year. That's absolutely true. Yeah. That's why I called it Project 50, because this was my 50th year. Yeah. But I'm not going to enter my 50th. So, yeah. Exactly. In the face of everything, like anybody that they might be on the edge of something, illness, lack of happiness, hard work, downtimes. Even if you think they're shining, they're working their way through it, maybe they're just putting on a brave face really well. Let them know you love them this week. Make a point of it. That'd be a good birthday gift for me. As a birthday gift to me, tell somebody you might have talked to in a while, or you think needs to hear it, or even somebody you think may be tired of hearing it. Tell them this week. Make a point of it. That would be great, including Carrie. We should all let Carrie know we love her. So, all right, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to work on this because it's maddening to see it firsthand, to watch the bandwidth flip out just from the graphics on that. I answered all my questions of the problems we've been having, and it's totally solvable because now that I know it's not the hardware, then, I mean, I'm starting to find where the leak in the hose is, instead of thinking it could be 10 or 15 different places. So thank you guys. Yeah, absolutely, Ginger. And big love to you. And I will see you on Sunday. Those of you that I get to see tomorrow, I'm very excited to see you guys. Hugs all around. And we'll have a nice little gathering before the Flapper show. Any of you that are going to make it to the Tuesday show, please let me know. Bring a friend. It's going to be a big party. I'm hosting and singing. I'm doing like 5 songs and jumping on with a couple of other people, and it's my birthday one, and it's a VH1 I Love the 80s special night, so there'll be everything from hair metal to Tears for Fears. There's going to be a broad several types. It'll be great for everybody. You'll have a great time if you can make it down. It also streams. They have a site that they stream it on, so I'll post that link, so you guys can hop on there as well. But those of you that I get to see, I'll see you soon, and those of you I don't, I'll see you later. Okay, bye everybody. Take care.